in the video, right? But on paper, right? Like the leak was supposed to be, it'll tell you what the actual percentages are, right? And then on the leak screenshot, it's like it starts like DDR's S2 is it has 100% chance to give the buff, so it's supposed to go up to 130%. Like, nice cook low, bro. Like, if you had any amount of experience and you're familiar with the way Smilegate does things, you know it's somebody's fanfic, right? Their idea for buffing something was just to give them 50 combat readiness. It's like the laziest buffs in existence. And the nerfs are just like, this is what I want because this thing kicks my ass on the ladder. Like, you can just tell whenever something got hit hard by a nerf is just something they were particularly frustrated with. So you could tell it was somebody's fanfic. The fact that I had to be like, guys, somebody made this, clearly, is crazy to me. Alright, let's see what we get. Ooh. 260 energy. Do I want to do that? About 10 minutes until Vic shows up. Oh, I'm out of flags. Okay.
Need someone to ride with?
Yeah, seems fine. I don't think I need to play a decay game. I don't plan on playing Rested today. I don't plan on playing Rested tomorrow. I will probably come back Tuesday or Wednesday and then run some matches. But after the tournament today, I'm probably going to take like 2 days off. I wasn't here on day 1. How did it go? Oh, it went fucking insane. Hold up. I don't know if you saw. But in terms of tournaments we have done, this is the biggest prize pool we've ever had. This is one of the most competitive, like, rosters we've ever had. The matches were some of the best. Shit went insane. Also, boys, thank you guys for the care packages. Let's stretch it out. Hydrate up before the boys get here, before we get going. Also, this is the most, like, bedhead you guys will probably ever see me. I got up today, I'm like, this is some crazy-ass bedhead. I'll just walk up onto stream like this, because people are like, you must want to be a VTuber because you're ugly. Yeah, that, and sometimes I just look like shit, and it's like, when I'm a stick man, I don't have to care about that. 4 big guys. Pin bracket. Oh yeah, true. Let me pin this up. Brackets here. / pin this. Manually unpin. Ah, there we go. Showing off the guns? Bro, I'm the most average built guy ever. Here, I'll actually show you guys. Like, I don't think I have the guns, but I definitely don't think I'm like a stick or anything like that. Like, I don't think I have. I just have literally the most average build. I don't know what to tell you guys. For an Asian man, I look average. I think I sound average. I think like I perform average. It's just I even have an average Asian penis of 1.5 inches. What am I supposed to tell you guys? Huge guns. I don't know, man. I like I'm not skinny, that's for sure, but I'm like the most average Asian build. The only thing I got going for me is I'm sitting on a bakery. I definitely do not think they're better than Vic's guns. Vic's actually build. Like, Vic actually works out. Okay, I would say I don't, but I kind of do. Like, Guys, when you guys hit your like late 20s, you gotta go a little bit of an extra mile. You gotta put out a little bit of work to keep yourself in shape. Get up? Oh yeah, might as well. Let's do it. Yeah, we're hanging out for a bit. We're waiting for Vic. We're waiting for Divine, and we're waiting for our top. Oh my god. I notice every time I move my desk, my camera dies. The cake killed the cam. Unlucky. Let me try to fix it, guys. I think I got it. Yeah, part of my wire management kind of kills it. It is what it is. Asian guy sitting on a whole bakery. I mean, what if it's just half a bakery? So yeah, if you weren't here yesterday, I think on both YouTube and Twitch, the VODs should be up. You wouldn't be surprised, but the only gimmick with this format is we have no third pick ban protect, and so far that's made for some of the best RTA matches I've seen in years. Alright. Oh, God. I'm so sore. Yeah, the ban protect, in all honesty, it made the game very simple, right? I think it makes the game very approachable for new players, but holy shit, is it fun seeing really, like, high-ranked players, seeing some of the best players play no third pick ban protect, and watch them snipe, like, good-ass picks, good-ass bans around each other. I rewatched the VOD. It was awesome. Probably the only rewatchable VOD. Do you guys think the VODs are fine? Wait, Koba, if you watch it, do you think it's fine and I should just leave it? Or do you think I should get my editor to make, like, a supercut of it? What do you guys think? I need some opinions from VOD gang. Makes the game much more interesting, especially needing to play mine. You have to play a lot of mind games. Yeah, you need to set up pretty hard. And figure out your draft pretty hard. You gotta do a lot more. Oh, let's see. So, in terms of bracket, I think today we're just gonna start with Higa, Lunar, Karna, Glitch, AB Harrison. Wow, AB Harrison's still on board. Isuko ExJello. Dang, okay. So, everybody is playing for the money, by the way. The moment they win one match, they are guaranteed at least $275. Also, Kazushi, thank you for the 4-month, dude. Welcome back. I appreciate you. Ahoy. I will say, though, guys. You're never gonna catch me saying this on record. I can't wait to finish here today so I can go play Monster Hunter. I just want to go play Monster Hunter, man. Are we seeing all the matches? Yes. So Divine was really busy this month, and so was Vic, so we didn't really have time to prepare like a sideshow for charity for you guys. I was like, yeah, it's fine. We'll just go over every match. MHW stream when? I've already been streaming it. I probably will stream a bit of Monster Hunter after the tournament today if I'm not like supremely tired. Also, did I just pin the word bracket? Holy shit. That's crazy. Hold up. How about this? There we go. Hope you're well. Thank you for everything you do for the E7 community. I mean, E7 community did a lot for me, especially through COVID and through the lockdown. So I'm only doing everything I think is right. Yeah, this Monster Hunter is arguably the best Monster Hunter ever. I just haven't found the Argosy, and I can't be fucked to farm honey by myself. A deep cut will be nice with purely battles. Oh shit. Holy fuck, that's so loud. I'm gonna be disabling that after we start, by the way. Damn. Okay, I gotta disable that somehow. Holy shit. Okay, Tangia, we're gonna be disabling everything. Is it better than Rise? Rise is pretty forgettable, to be honest. Rise is a side game made by the B team, right? World changed a lot of things. Rise basically turned you into Dynasty Warriors. It was like, okay, but the weapons, especially with the wire bug skills, got too complicated, and it almost kind of took away the core of what makes Monster Hunter Monster Hunter. This one is kind of more back into that form, back into like the mainline form, you know? Because Rise is ultimately, it's meant to be like a Switch game, right? And then they ported it back over. Rise was way better than World. I think Rise had a harder hit of dopamine when you played it, but the replayability of Rise did not seem to stretch as far as Worlds. Okay, I can stick with that. I think that's a very fair assessment, you know? Hey, what's going on? What's up, Vic? Need to set up cameras. Let's get it. Is Vic here?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome on in. I'm getting Vic pulled in. Whenever we get Divine. Whenever we get Divine. I know Divine's around. Thank you for the care package. Ugh. Need to see you stream the rest of Fate Samurai. Oh, true! Dude! I keep forgetting you know what it is I probably have to pick some days where I am, oh no. Oh no. Okay, we need Divine or else these camera settings are effed. Oh no, ay. Also, Vic, are you on the road?
Yeah, I am.
Wait, hold up. I also don't hear you. Uh-oh. Oh, no. I saw your mouth move. You said, yup. And then, Mino here. That's not good. Okay, we gotta figure this out.
Hello.
What's my volume mixer at? Discord's all at 100%. Ay. I have stoked.
Hello?
Okay, there you go. Okay, you're just super quiet today.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I have you up at 200%.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Wait, hold
Okay,
on.
guys, how does he sound? He sounds a little bit quiet to me. He sounds all right to you guys? For some reason, when you're echoing, I'm assuming it's my stream music. It's a bit louder.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Sounds fine. Sounds good. It's fine. Okay. Fuck it. We'll go with it.
It's muffled. Hold on. 1 second.
It's fine. Looks cut off. It won't look cut off if Divine's here.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3.
All right. Should be fine now. Let me see. Divide, throw up the camera. There we go. Good morning. Good morning.
We have artificial light to bring us everything we need.
Jello asks if he can go first so he can go back to hunting monsters. I am down if Higa's okay with it. Higa is playing at 1 a.m. AB is playing at like 8 a.m. So if they're okay with it, sure. If they're like, bro, it's 1 a.m. and 8 a.m., I'm afraid Jello needs to get in line. I actually down to go first. I have work too. Isuko, what time is it for you? I think it'll go over better with the other guys if I'm like, guys, it's 7 a.m. for Isuko rather than, yo, Jello's trying to spank that Nargacuga ass, guys. We got a fucking double time. I think it'll go over better, so let's stick with that, right, guys? Agree? Let's go with that line. Fuck it. Let's just make the lobby. I'll make it same password as yesterday.
I know everything.
Can I even put the money sign
Valkyrie,
in?
are you able to have your cam show up on Discord or no?
My cam?
Yeah.
Let's
So some
see.
people were saying, or
Okay, it's
asking
gonna,
if I can, if you
it's
can
gonna
have it
kill
on
my
there.
thing, but let's see it. Oh.
Dude, I'm on the road. This is so scuffed. Jesus.
Are you just streaming on your laptop?
Yeah. Gotta make sure it works.
Yeah, I cannot get that up.
It's because if you're on your streaming software, it'll take priority if it's already on in your sources.
Yeah, I'm trying to
So
figure out how
technically
we're gonna
have
do
to-
this.
Okay.
I think I have to do the thing you did yesterday, right?
Yeah, I basically removed my camera from all my sources for it to work, basically.
So if I do that, it would be... Let me try this.
Oh, that worked.
Ooh. Okay. We're almost getting these jitters out.
There we go. And now we won't have a scenario like where we're just Shirotan. E7, okay, hold up. I gotta put this all the way down to the bottom so that, fuck! Aw, man. Okay. I can figure this out. Okay, let's downsize this a little bit. Vic, move a little bit to your left. And then we should be good. Like, honestly... Also, we're like not that important anyway, so this should be okay. We'll just overlay the game window over the camera bar.
Valkyrie's like 25 to 50% louder. Okay, let me see.
Like, I just want to play Monster Hunter. I'm sorry, Jello. But let's just say Izuko has to go to work and it's 7 a.m. for him, and he just wants to die to Jello so he can go to work. Well, let's say that. Okay, I got my phone out for comms. Okay, I need to do a roll call real quick. I know Jello's here, I know Higa's here, I know Izuko's here. Is AB Harrison here? Glitchless is here. Carnik, is he here? And then is Mossman here? So you need to make sure everybody's here and we're ready to go. Spend all day at the aquarium with the children. Hey, at least you're like done, right? Yeah, I just want to hunt some fat creatures. Where's the password at? Go DM one of these two guys. I'm sure you know them, right? Go DM one of them. I think you're the only one without the password, because everybody else played in their... So, one more thing, Carnik King. So if you go over the rules, basically we're doing... with the way we play the tournaments, right, is we go round by round. So if we played round 2, just wait for people before you start, like, round 3. That way, people have a chance to be able to watch your matches on stream. I think, like, at some point in the future, people, like, start skipping ahead. We're just gonna DQ people, because, I feel like a lot of people, if you get really serious, you just do your matches so you can, like, avoid getting your draft or whatever scouted. And that's, like, trying a little bit too hard.
Can I just test if your stream can hear everything fine or no?
My stream?
Yeah, can they hear me fine?
Yeah, guys, can you guys hear Vic? He's a little bit quiet for me, but I just need you guys to make sure. Is there any way to turn your mic's fucking pickup volume?
Yes.
Yeah, you're good, man. You're good. But at some point, we're gonna have to start DQing people who, like, jump ahead. We can hear fine. Okay, you're a little bit quiet for us. Just so you know.
Are we streaming on laptop? Because I had some family stuff I couldn't get out of. And it was either don't stream today or stream on your laptop. And I chose, or actually, sorry, don't do the tournament or stream on your laptop. And I chose the latter, so.
He brought the quality mic with him.
Yeah, I brought everything, dude.
07, bro. You're a fucking champ.
Dude, like,
Yeah,
if you get fucked, yeah,
I
at least
think
gotta,
we
like,
have
take it up
everybody,
the ass,
so the
you know?
moment you guys are ready...
Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta
I'm,
take it up the ass.
I'm ready to go from, like, no energy to casting mode in, like, the flip of a switch for no reason.
There should also be, like, less organizational stuff today, so I don't know if you noticed, Vic, yesterday. I couldn't even lock it in. I was like, oh, somebody needs this. Oh, they need this from me. Oh my god.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of admin work yesterday, bro.
Oh god, I didn't want to, like, hit up any of the usual guys. I wanted them to chill. In the end, I ended up having to hit up Conquer anyway. Ay. Yeah, okay. Think we're good to go? I think we're good to go. All right. Yeah, that does, in fact, look pretty good.
Bro, what the hell?
All right, I think we're ready to go. You guys want to fire it up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm patching the game.
You're patching the game? Okay, 1 second.
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
Yeah, oh, because you gotta, like, redo that whole emulator and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You want me to do the intro
before,
for I don't know. I'm assuming you're getting your editor to make a cut of the entire cast. So you want me to do the intro?
I'm not doing nothing. Go ahead.
All right. Welcome back, guys. This is day 2 of Vic's RTA Archaeology Tour. I'm Divine. Joined by me is I'm Divine. Fuck! You did the intro so much. I thought I was Divine. I'm Valky. That's Divine, and below him is Vic. And today we're here to cast the grand finals. We're at the top 8 cut. We're here to cast the grand finals. Man, we got some matches yesterday. Competition got really heated. And this is the biggest prize pool we had at $1,100. So, quick bracket check real quick to get us just zoned in, focused in on the entire business. We got, our top 8 cut right now will be Higa versus Lunar, Carnik versus Glitchless, AB versus Harrison, Isuko versus ExJello. So, fellas, yesterday we got to see some crazy matches. You wouldn't imagine that just because we added in no third pick ban protection, the matches would look that different. But what was your guys' favorite match from yesterday?
I think it was definitely, there's a lot of things. You told me initially the meta had changed a lot, and I was really, really surprised to see that somebody had finally found a spot for Tehu. It was back in the waiting box where he came from. I really think that was probably the most I'd seen of a shift from our normal standard format to get back to playing normal and standard, motherfucker. You're not that special. But I think overall, a lot of the matches have been good. A lot of matches have been close. We only had a couple 2-0s yesterday. And I think for the most part, people have been adapting really well, and that's been all throughout all the sets so far, right? So I definitely think that. I think Vic did a great job of highlighting the impact of a lot of things. I think first pick is keenly disastrous without a third pick, so you have to be a lot more ready once your opponent has that advantage on their side. And I think also you have to be able to take advantage of it a lot more. And there's also some key units we talked about yesterday throughout the day. Of course, you have your Flan. Of course, you have your New Moon Luna that are just also devastating in those first pick positions. So seeing everyone throughout the tournament navigate that has really been a wonder.
Yeah, I mean, for me yesterday, I mean, it was, I wouldn't say I had any specific matches or matchups that I was super, hyped about realistically. But what I did really appreciate from yesterday, that I know we're going to see today as well, is just the pre-bans, right? Let's see if people did their homework from yesterday, right? Look at the matches, look at the VODs, look at their E7 GG. Did people tune their the rest of their units to make special? Like we saw, for example, like Higa started banning Green Celine, right? If you look at the E7 GG, he never did that, right? These are a lot of some kind of tweaks and adjustments that you kind of have to make for kind of tournaments like this in this kind of format. So I'm really excited for today just to see how things go out and see if anyone has really tightly tuned some of the units and see how many more ERBBKs are we going to see? Are we going to see some more demonic stuff? Are we going to see the return of like the Layas? We saw a bunch of candy today that didn't go too well. Yesterday it didn't go too well. So yeah, lots of matches today, but I'm very excited to see everybody play. No specific favorites. I don't want to play favorites, but
no,
yeah,
you can play favorites. You absolutely can't play favorites. This is our event, homie. And nobody said you can't play favorites when you're the one running the event.
There are no delusions about collusion over here, my guy.
Either way, though, I think if you're coming in today, you missed yesterday, the best match you probably wanted to see was AB versus a Lifton. That is the Hall of Fame marquee matchup. Real shame to see a Lifton go out in the first round. I really wish that BO5 is something we had. Every single competitor here today is playing for the money. So right now we are currently in the top 8 cut. Anybody who wins here is going to secure themselves into top 4, meaning they get to take home at least $275, I think. Like, that seems pretty good. I think third and fourth place split $275. And then first and second can fight for the big money. But either way, that is a lot of money going in on the line the moment they win. First matchup will be Higa versus Lunar. The moment they're ready, I think we're ready to go into it.
Yeah, it's 275 for everybody but first place. Everybody but first place gets double that.
Yeah, third and fourth place gets to split that much. Both players are ready. Yesterday we got to see a lot of aggro action coming out of them, and I think the aggro mirror match is something I'm super interested in. Just because without a third pick ban protect, you can't rely on your one fast unit or your one initiator. So I really want to see how they adapt the draft and get themselves those winning drafts. Wait, I'm so sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. Oh my god. My fault, guys. My fault. Let me
all right,
let me actually
Valky
do the settings. I'm like getting too excited. My fault, guys. My fault,
while Valky's
boys.
setting up, for today, I think something that we want to pay attention to is to see, did the contestants, everyone that made the top 8, have they done their homework? Are they having some specialized? Are they switching up their pre-bans? Are we going to see some different first picks? Are they teched out for specific picks? Like if Emilpera goes through, we saw the Fast City coming out from Harrison, right? We saw a lot of different kind of builds that come out yesterday. And today is where, if you did your homework, it's going to pay off, right? And if you didn't, then you might pay the price and you might not be able to lock yourself in for some money, right? So very excited for the first few matches. And obviously Higa, we all know, Mossman, Lunar, we all know, both two very, very hyper aggressive players. And I don't think they're really going to back down from each other. But sometimes, if you're second pick, you might just have to, and just pray a little bit for some RNG.
And of course, to reiterate, format of the tournament will be 2 pre-bans, best of 3 until the next round, and banter protection will be turned off. So having a bulletproof, watertight draft will be the key to victory. False start is done. Let's go right into it. Yeah, I think one of the most important units we saw yesterday was the use of that Zeo. A lot of people were using it to fight for control of that first turn. In an aggressive matchup like this, I think being able to go first and then flexing your speed gear over your opponents will be one of the most important things you can do. From my understanding of our matches yesterday, Lunar seems like he has a fast spread speed account, which means he's fast on multiple units, whereas Higa Fumir is mostly fast across 1 to 2 units. And I think being able to take out the fast units, getting yourself that first turn. Oh, and Zeo is still in the game. Okay, pre-bans come out. You think they're having another gentleman's agreement where they don't pick Harsetti? Because Harsetti seems like she is still very much in this game.
Yeah, so one thing to highlight here is actually the Harsetti not being pre-banned, right? I doubt that they're also going to have another gentleman's agreement, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But definitely a surprising pre-ban coming out from Higa's side. Yesterday we saw the Green Celine ban, and this time the Conqueror Lilies is getting banned. He immediately takes the Harsetti and the Fire Flan in response to Lunar's New Moon Luna coming out here. And the one highlight I also want to make is the Lone Wolf Payra pre-ban from Mossman's side. I mean, that typically, is going to be specifically for like Emma Lua, right? Emma Lua's power is just insane, especially with Conqueror Lilies pre-banned as well. I mean, Harsetti kind of shuts it all down, though. So will Mossman have to sack one game and then kind of move on? We'll see.
I don't think that's in his intentionality at all. I was going to say.
Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, it seems to me like we've got an opportunity here. At least throughout the tournament, we've seen opportunities for Harsetti to come up, but now it's time for the masterclass on how this kind of thing gets dealt with. I don't think you want to be messing around with giving up rounds, especially outside of a best-of-5 format. Maybe that could be a strategy with more games in play, but we're still 2 out of 3, I believe, right? So I wouldn't necessarily take that under advisement.
What we saw here, right? So we see the Kayron, or the Blue Crown and the Emma Lua come out here from Mossman. So in response to a Harsetti, I mean, this must mean that this is going to be a fast Harsetti from Higa's side, right? So there's definitely no gentleman's agreement that we know now. But the Emma Lua coming out, as we saw from the Conquer Lilies pre-ban and the Lone Wolf Payra pre-ban, how is Higa going to respond here on the 3-4, to this, right? Like, he has a Harsetti. Does he decide to pick something like a Zeo to say, you know what, I'm going to take the aggro back? He's going to play turn 2. We'll see.
I believe we actually saw some of that Harsetti yesterday. It is a fast Harsetti on Abyssal Crown. Not sure if he's switched his build since yesterday, and as some of you guys know or may not know, the street rule around switching gear in a tournament is if you start a series like this, you're no longer allowed to switch your gear. But between your matches, like let's say he moves around on to the next round, he's completely allowed to switch gears and just throw off his opponents, hit him with a mix-up, stuff like that. And here we see him lock in quickly the Meteor Choleric as well as the BBK. I think Lunar's put in a pretty tough spot there. Yes, I do think the New Moon Luna first pickup is extremely good, but Higa was very competent yesterday playing aggro with a fast Harsetti, and I think if his stun RNG carries over with that Abyssal Crown, Lunar's going to have quite a hard time.
So, I mean, I think yesterday you're remembering the Harrison match for Harsetti. So this is actually the first Harsetti that we're seeing from Higa come out.
Oh.
And Lunar actually decides to go for Amiki and Abyssal Yufine. Where some players might actually want to speed up, he decides to slow a little bit down here, respecting the fact that it could be an ERBBK, right? And trying to position to not get overly aggressive. And Abyssal Yufine comes out here to try to negate some of the combat readiness. And obviously, if he lets the Harsetti through, Flan S1 is AoE as well. I mean, Yufine's going to be able to charge up quite quickly here. But Higa does lock in that DDR, recognizing that Lunar does not have any cleansers, right? So it's going to be really hard for him to fight versus that crowd control. And we do see that DDR get post-banned here by Lunar on the right side. And Higa is going to go ahead and ban out the Inheritor Amiki just to ensure that Mossman doesn't have that 1v2, 1v3, and 1v4 potential at the very end after his entire team dies.
Well, observation from Vic, always coming in clean as a whistle, but we've got to go in, as we said before, no Death Dealer Ray, no Inheritor Amiki. We're really going to see how this anti-Harsetti strategy that we've been waiting for a really long time plays out to its fullest potential.
If you have no use,
Ooh, and once again, Harsetti goes first.
Ooh.
No book to her name. Likely on Crown, mayhaps even on a damage build. Goes off for the first shot. No defense break, but does proc that counterattack. Ooh, man.
Ooh, wait a second. That's huge. No defense break on the Abyssal Euphine means that Flan wasn't able to do as much damage as Higa was hoping for. And if he decides to go for an S3, Euphine is going to have her S3 on turn 1. Higa is going to press that S3 to get the defense break, and the counter comes in from the Abyssal Euphine as well. We look at that BBK, he doesn't get any attack downs at all, so it could be on an ER build, and Higa is coming around the corner here.
Oh wow, big turn. He used the Mediator Coerc S1 to try to combat readiness push the BBK. Does not connect the turn, and now Luna will be able to strip all of his buffs, disable every single passive. BBK ripping it. This is his one chance. Gets the kill through the defense break, procs the Holy Sacrifice.
If Higa gets this extra kill here onto the Luna, that seal falls off here, so he does have that second immortality again.
Now here's time for a little interaction in case you didn't catch it. Not the Warhorn on the Mediator Coerc. Actually, one of everyone's favorite artifacts on their favorite unit, Spear Purification here. No real play, though.
Oh, Euphine getting that turn is huge. Finally going to be able to push back the entire team against Higa. Oh, BBK might just lose her passive again here. Gets taken down to lethal and have that immortality removed. It's just enough souls for the Blue Crowd Soulburn. Big horse coming in, AoE true damage. Rewarded for playing defense. Immediate GG coming out from Higa.
But man, I mean, that first game right here, it was so close. I mean, if Higa landed that defense break onto that Abyssal Euphine, I mean, that Abyssal Euphine might have exploded immediately, right? And that could have been the turning point. And Mossman, I mean, anyone that's watching that is in this tournament, and if you're looking at playing on ladder, you can just see the importance of having the immunity on all your units. Right? If Mossman had immunity on the Abyssal Euphine, you could have negated that lose condition right away. So he got a little bit lucky on that first turn there, but you know, this is still anybody's game, right? He can come back. He has that first pick, and we've seen it be so powerful again and again. So let's see if he can bring that around.
We do see Higa opting for that first pick, and the power is there, just like you said. When the pre-bans comes through, first pick player always has the first choice on the most OP units that's still left in the draft. And let's see which one takes over here.
So are we going to see a Harsetti pre-ban come out? I mean, they clearly don't have a gentleman's agreement.
That's a good question. I feel like that's maybe something left up to... Wow, both players banning out the New Moon Luna.
I think it might be something a little bit more broken than Harsetti. I think that's what they were eyeing.
So Higa actually opts to pick the Emalua here, because like we mentioned, right, Lone Wolf Pebra is a cleanser in that, right? Conquer Lilies, if it's faster than you, he can break you out of that guiding light, provoke you so that you don't get that first turn S3, right? And Mossman locks in that Fire Flan here, recognize that, you know, he wants to guarantee a damage source, and that Flan win rate is extremely high. So very good first pickup here, and see what he follows up with.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if he picks up the Harsetti for himself. Is eyeballing it a little bit. Maybe that's something he can use to limit the amount of speed and the aggression and the speed tuning that Higa could potentially play with. Does get locked up in here. Higa now needs to think, do I maybe draft a Zeo to try to play over her? Or just adopt for a safer turn 2 strategy, because if he bans the Zeo, well, I'm still out of luck. I'm still out of that first turn.
But, you know, I think a lot of people, I mean, this whole tournament, we have no third pick ban protection, right? That's what we wanted to highlight with this tournament in mind. And a lot of people were saying that if there's no third pick ban protection, Harsetti would not work, Young Senya would not work, yada, yada, yada. But right now we're seeing, you know, Harsetti is in the matches, you know, and clearly it seems like it can work, and people are just going to play through it, which is extremely surprising to me, again, with two aggro players like Higa and Mossman. But, you know, maybe the community was wrong after all. Immediately, Higa comes in with the A, Meru, and DDR. Says, you know what? You have no cleansers right now. I'm just going to try to lock you down. The sleep can remove the evasion from that Fire Flan. So some decent pickups here. Now, Mossman is probably thinking, you know, maybe I want to pick some immunity units. Maybe a Tori. Are we going to see a Tori on immunity come out? Maybe?
Tori's one of those units I did expect to see, because if you look at the overall, shall we say, the tides of the draft, Lunar does come out swinging with the red flan, and Higa, instead of, just picking victim units, what he does is he picks these tanky, bulky units that can survive the red flan, and then hit her back with debuffs in order to disable that passive, disable her evasion. Once you have those debuffs going, you'll be able to run her over, not with relative ease, but she'll at least be a manageable threat when it comes to any character that can beat a red flan. Celine gets locked in for Lunar, so looking to counterplay all of those non-attacking skills. And we got a Ramf. He's just here to, we saw, I believe it was ExJello play him very well. You would think that Ran is here to set up aggressive action, but he's here to race the Hellion Lua, put up immunity for the first turn, and whatever damage he generates, generally speaking, healers are not a big priority in RTA right now, so that all of the damage he does will stick, and it's not something you can just come back from.
You even talked about it before, Valk, with the value of having these high HP targets that are obviously going to survive what the flan is putting out. Defense breaks, as always, do tend to caution against that. I mean, every unit has been getting defense breaks as of lately. I thought they were giving them out like candy. And speaking of the new units, Herder Amaki coming out on the left side as well to shore down, make sure there's some real damage coming out from the left side, and that same survivability that might make its way through, I don't know, the pointy end of Celine's sword there.
Exactly. Amaki is a unit you always pick up when you go, oh wow, that guy looks fast. Oh, I don't think I can race that. I'm gonna need some counterattacks.
Did you see that stuff right there, Valk? What a disgusting fifth pick. Even our guest Vic had to stand up for a second there, seeming the blooming Lich Lidica come out at the end. Absolutely nasty clincher on the fifth pick there. And of course the Dragon Bride Senya, a little bit more protection for all the hazardous goons on the left side. That's right, just jorking it off, making sure that they can put each other's nonsense into full perpetual motion with all these debuffs after all this disgusting nonsense. Dragon Bride Senya won't be able to make it, as of course, and Blooming Lidica, both players respecting out the fifth, just playing with the top four as we get into the next match.
I mean, this is the scary thing about letting the Harsetti come through, is that the Harsetti just, if you get the God of God tuning, so if your entire team goes after that Harsetti, there's not a lot of stuff that you can really do, which is why Higa's Amiki pick is actually super, super strong here, right? He recognized that, you know what, if I get the worst speed tuning possible, at least I have an anchor that can 1v4 the rest of Mossman's draft here. And we do see that the Harsetti comes through. We see that Higa's DDR is going to be closely following behind with the Celine into the Fire Flan. So this CR is just all over the place. That Ran is going second last, right? So, how is this going to play out? We'll see.
And, I just want to point out the fact that this is going to be a
Immediately, Ameru gets one shot by getting defense broken with no immunity on that build. DDR is going to be available to press that S3 into the S2. Now, Celine is going to have that S2 go off here. Will it go into the Amiki and give that combat readiness? It goes into Emalua.
Oh, no.
Kills a kill.
Oh, 40k. A clean 40k. Well, it's Amaki versus the world, essentially. I mean, the doctor's in town, but I don't know for how long his services will be available. Burn on the Celine. She wants damage. She wants it now. As I said, gonna have to close up the doors on that clinic. I'm not even sure that guy's licensed. As the rest of the team goes down, and now it's just one Amaki standing up against the world. She gets her first attack out, the provoke.
Nice. As the recipient of many Amaki solos, I can tell you guys one thing. This is a unit with a lot of firepower, but not a lot of sustainability. She's got one good turn of burst, and then she's out. So whatever damage Higa can do with his one turn worth of Amaki, I mean, he does have the soul burn, he does have the attack buff, that is going to have to count. Because if he doesn't kill 4 units with a single Amaki here, and it's a tough task, I think Amiki's going to have a hard time killing the Celine. Gonna have a hard time killing a village Harsetti, no less. That is just such a tough matchup. I mean, started at 28,000 HP. A little bit of injury going over to her, but I imagine she is still north of, 18,000. That is going to be a bit much for an Amaki to handle. Although, maybe with the Pestilence debuff, she'll be able to pull out a miracle. Hopefully, ideally.
So two things I want to highlight here. First of all, Higa made an amazing decision on that first rotation from Amiki to S1 provoke the Harsetti so that he can make sure that Harsetti doesn't have any S3 to kind of strip anything off there. But one thing about Mossman, actually, he soul burned Celine.
Does take her
When
out,
it
though.
wasn't really necessary. It wasn't necessary. He would have had Soulburn S3 with Ran on this turn to strip the Amiki here. So will Mossman's small decision there cost him the game? I mean, Amiki just has to counter here, and Ran's gonna die out of the Uberius too.
I'm with you.
No counter.
I haven't seen counters
Has to
yet.
counter here. No counter as well
No
onto the
counter.
Celine.
One
will
more
he
turn,
counter
though.
onto the Ran here to win the game back?
No counter.
It looks like Lunar might take this victory. Clean 2-0.
Oh man, had the Amiki just countered a single time, we might have been seeing a different outcome to this set entirely.
There was an alternative future I was sent to for a couple minutes there where I just thought she couldn't. I'm going to be straight up. I was sitting there just waiting, anticipating. Even from before that, I was just like, you just going to sit there and let this happen? It's like I was watching Landy from yesterday every time, because we were holding out for the salvo yesterday as well. And we're like, we can't get salvos. We can't get counters. I'm sorry to say, but it looks like the strategies are not reliant if you're going to be looking for those 30, 40 off% chances for activation. You're just going to need a cleaner strategy, especially with a tournament like this.
And like before this set actually started, like we talked a lot about the pre-bans and if people made any adjustments and things like that. I mean, not pre-banning Harsetti and letting this go through these first 3 games, like did that affect Higa's ability to play his matches? We know that he's an aggressive player. We know both of them are. We know Harsetti is not very often that's in their games on ladder. So was it due to some inexperience? Like it's just really surprising to have aggro players not pre-ban the Harsetti. It's just it blows my mind.
Yeah, mayhaps, the state of the draft, having first pick, not having first pick, it might have been just a little bit too much pressure knowing you have to play against the Luna without third pick ban protect. Might have been Sea Phantom Politis comes in, now suddenly half the defense units just don't work because I can't get Fighting Spirit. That does change some things, but coming up next, we do have Carnik versus Flaccid Fork. Flaccid Fork, we got to see in a pretty clean match, a pretty clean set yesterday. Didn't get to see Carnik at all, so this will be our first time watching him come up to bat. You have any infos on this, Vic? I know you have more time spent in the ladder.
Unfortunately, Carnik, not really. Flaccid is definitely going to be that hyper-aggressive player that we saw a little bit of yesterday, and I'm expecting to see again. But yeah, I mean, hope this is going to be a good match. I mean, Flaccid has been practicing all morning, kind of priming himself, asking me for a playlist on how to get pumped up. So I'm really curious to see what he brings out here. Does he have any tech? Does Carnik have any tech? Will he be able to, clutch up some wins? We'll see.
Pulling right up into the pre-bans. You did mention he's very aggressive, and Carnik, the mysterious challenger of today, bans out the red flan and takes out the Zeo. What does that tell you about somebody's playstyle?
Well, that absolutely tells you that they're going to be playing. First of all, they're going to be playing kind of fast, right? A slow player, a turn 2 player, is not going to be banning Zeo. I tell you that much, right? Zeo is going to hard counter things like Ran, like Blue Payra, right? Units that rely on that first turn, Conquer Lilius. And Flaccid Fork actually locked in the Lone Wolf Payra here, and Carnik immediately responds with the Sea Phantom Politis, not backing down whatsoever. And with that Fireflan pre-banned out, I mean, this normally would be a pretty good spot for Fireflan earlier in the draft. But Carnik is going to want to try and stay flexible because, with Politis and grant rage to things something like Genua, but Illinav is not banned. So, I mean, that's not something you can pick too early on here, can you?
And for everything we've seen, this probably looks like the closest thing to a standard ladder game that you'll see. Sea Phantom Politis into Veronica. Most likely picking up a BBK, but thing with the BBK is you are not going to be able to lock her in on the third pick ban protect. And I think one really important interaction here is Flaccid, I actually think, has a chance to steal away the BBK. And hey, if you're good enough, if you're airtight enough, you can just ban away the Veronica on pick 4, pick 5. So that is also a viable play because no third pick ban protect just means you can't protect any of your units. Anything is free game for a post ban, and I think there's going to be a lot more variations if the guys decide to go for it.
One thing I want to highlight here is that Veronica on 2 with the Sea Phantom Politics is basically telling Flaccid that I'm not going to back down. If you want to speed up, I have that 10 imprint on you. I have the defense break. I can lock in 2 DPS or 1 utility and then lock in 2 DPS on the 4-5. And Flaccid actually says, you know what? Okay, you wanted to get that first turn. I'm not going to raise you. I'm not going to contest you. I'm going to play with ML Hwayoung here, who's going to anchor me versus some kind of aggression. Blood Moon Haze is also going to anchor me versus that aggression. And Carnik actually locks in ML Shu. Not exactly what we were expecting, right? We were expecting some kind of heavy front-loaded DPS with heavy damage, but Shu is kind of slowing a little bit down here. So I don't know if this is intentional or if this is teched out or whatnot, but definitely you do not want to pick something that has a little bit lower tempo when you're already going to go for that first turn if you want to chain and tune all of your units together. So, you know, maybe it is going to be have we seen an opener Shu this tournament? We haven't, but is it really that good? We'll see.
I will not give in to despair.
Definitely, he's hitting that whole pivot right there, not only with the Shu, but with the Empyrean Ilanav. Looks like the main intention here is he sees his opponents adjust way too defensively, and here we're just going to capitalize on his willingness to slow down that way. We got injury on 2 characters, also stopping a lot of the defense penetration, but Empyrean Ilanav into Bystander Hwayoung, I feel like it's always going to be a extremely volatile matchup that could go either way. Green Celine comes in once again. We're looking to block out the first turn Sea Phantom. Sounds like he's ready to just play against that top 4. Lock it in. One more last pick. Looking like Arya or might even steal away the BBK. I believe Arya before I believe BBK in this spot.
Been a while since I believe we've seen the Arya even.
You're definitely not going to want to pick BBK, and he does lock in the A Meru here. He does see that, you know what, I can seal out that Ilanav so that my Blood Moon Haze does have that power, so that is going to be a potential post-ban for Carnik here. Now, one thing about Flaccid's draft is if you take out that Lone Wolf Payra, he has no tempo in his draft. So something like a Knockwall would really gutter his team here, and it has that potential of sealing that Blood Moon Haste off. So is he going to be able to go for that? And he chooses not to. He says, you know what, I need to lock in a DPS here. I'm going to go with BBK. And so that's a lot of confidence in that Ilanav 4th pick there. And, I mean, we'll
yeah, and I just want to highlight this structure. You see both players go for a aggro opening, followed by 2 slow pivots, and then they pivot back up to speed. And just because of the way things shaked up, it almost looks like Flaccid is just a little bit more aggressive here with 2 high-tempo picks at the end, and Carnik only really getting that BBK. Bans away the Urban Shadow Shu, but BBK still makes it through the draft. I think whenever she's paired with Veronica, that is deadly.
So one thing that you're going to want to pay attention to here is that Celine on highest attack EE, and it looks like it is on the S3 damage EE, so we're not going to see that stun come out, and he actually holds the Sea Phantom Politis S3 to not provide Celine with the attack buff and S2. Now, Veronica is going to be able to get that S3 off to put that defense break and bomb. Decides to go for the Blood Moon Haze here, as that S1 will push that BBK forward in front of the Ameru, so he cannot get locked down. And another thing to pay attention to is that Ameru is not on book, and BBK is about to get the turn here. Will he decide to go for the S3 and go for the kill on a deaf, broken Blood Moon Haste?
Well, we know it's a counterattack Blood Moon Haste, so it's not a base speed, high HP build. And Sword's gonna come down. He is going to slam it. Lots of damage comes through, takes out the Haze. Divine Vessel procs. Damage looks like it's going to drive into... Ooh... Hits the BBK, maximum damage enabled. You have the opportunity to close out the Green Celine or fish for a kill on the Archdemon Shadow. Who will it be? One big turn here does go on the Archdemon Shadow. Attack buff, too much damage, closes it out. And I do believe Carnik gets himself very comfortable in this lead here. Now he's just taking the victory lap, getting that win. Knocks out the Celine as well. You're up to the lone Bystander Hwayoung, and hey, look, Bystander Hwayoung at the very least always has the possibility to do that. Counterattack until she wins.
Hey, she's good. She's not that good in this spot, especially with the BBK not having, or she still has a second immortality here. So, I mean, Flaccid is most likely dead. But as we saw in the draft, right, like we said that if Lone Wolf Paper does get banned out, you know, he loses all the tempo, right? He's just completely letting Carnik do whatever he wants. You really do need to speed up on the 4-5, pick something that can contest that first turn, force them to kind of be responsive into you on their last picks, right? Otherwise, you're just going to get run over like in this situation.
Now, while we're waiting for this bystander Huayang to prove herself here, I just have one question, Vic. We saw that the Blood Moon Haste is on the counterattack build. Ooh, just one hit knocks her right out. I was actually going to
say,
ask.
I don't think you have enough time for that question. I think you might be wrapping this up soon.
Well, with the defense break on him, if this was the base speed, high HP build with Proof of Valor, is there a chance for the Blood Moon Haste to survive that, weather the storm, and actually launch the comeback?
Nah, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. If that BBK was on a Lexus basket and that was KHM or a Lifton on the other side, that POV Blood Moon Haze would not die. And I mean that's the difference, right? Some players will pick Blood Moon Haze in certain spots where you have to identify: is it a counter Celestine build? Is it a POV build? Right? If they pick it in a POV Blood Moon Haze in certain drafts, you can tell that they're heavily anchoring, and it's almost kind of like baiting you a little bit, right? Where that Esther is going to do a ton of damage. But if they kind of pick it in some certain drafts where it's like, you know what, like this got to be on counter, right? Otherwise, I'm just going to run it over and kill it, which is exactly what happened, right? That BBK S3 just completely wiped them off the board.
And with that, Flaccid is going to lock in that first pick. Once again, first pick is probably the thing that's been the most dominant in this format. And now let's see if he could seize back control of the set and at least equalize with a 1-1.
Well, from design, right? From the basics of game design, first pick has been a problem for as long as somebody decided the white pieces go first in chess, right? It's been one of the greatest disablers. But really, one of the best ways to deal with somebody having the first pick advantage is to just predict the first pick, right? Preempt them on some level, or keep yourself in a position where you're waiting for the enemy to make a mistake. Because that's really what it is, right? First pick is you saying, hey, I've selected an option. What is your choice? And your response dictates everything, right? If you make a mistake from the on-go, it just cascades from there. It's essentially a rolling stone gathering speed. It just gets worse and worse for you. What did I just see?
It's a Says
So
ban.
This is some.
Blue says pre-ban.
Is there? Did I miss something? Guys, what happened? Talk to me.
What's
This
going
is-
on,
happening?
brother?
What's
this is a
happening, bro?
strat.
Okay,
This
okay.
is a strat here, right? Because
Okay.
if you have a limited hero pool and you don't want to waste a pre-ban and you don't have first pick, you do want to ban out a unit that, maybe something that like a blue says, right? Who's really going to pick that in this format? Not a lot of people, right? And so Flaccid is going to be picking up that ML Illanav here immediately. And Carnik, without hesitation, slams the Lone Wolf Pera, slams the Chief Hands of Politics, saying, I'm taking the first turn, I'm going aggressive, I'm taking advantage of the fact that you pre-ban ML Lua, and I'm just going to try to run you over.
From my perspective, it almost looked like Flaccid said there's still 2 openers left in the game. I'm okay playing either one. I'm going to pick up one of the great enablers in the game, as if I have Empyrean Illanav, my opponent can't pick any defense penetration characters, but Carnik just says, okay, you're going to give me an opener? I'll take both.
Take them all. Whatever you got, King. Whatever you got. Now, Flaccid's kind of purveying through. Now we see the Urban Shadow Shoe once again with this. I'm telling you guys, I want to know the pick rate of this Celine after we finish up the tournament today, because she is she feels like the can opener right now. Just the most useful tool, just constantly coming out. It's just like, do you even have a single non-attack skill? Please kindly go fuck yourself. That just seems to be the mentality every time I see her getting drafted here. As well as the BBK, another high pick rate character, but one that you said earlier, Vic, really augments your abilities in terms of offense, gives you survivability, and isn't the most dainty of princesses you have to worry about, and of course, serving well into the buff that these dark units are going to befell here in a couple moments.
But with Flaccid's Celine pick, it's way too early on. Like, you cannot pick Celine on 2-3. Celine has to be a 4 or 5 pick to punish more non-attack skills, right? You want to see him pick, Peyra, Polly, DDR, Laya, where there's a lot of comps where there's a ton of non-attack skills. Carnik can just hold his skills here, as we saw in the previous match, and just let the rest of his team do the work, right? Flaccid here. Now, Carnik does take that BBK and an RB, locking in his 2 DPS options here, so he can pick another support pick on the 5th pick. Flaccid immediately responds with a Veronica, get that 50% CR combat readiness versus that BBK and the Emma Huayang to anchor his draft, and it can extinct the RB. So now, Flaccid has kind of put this game kind of like, it's kind of almost like 50-50, right? It's like, if you ban the Veronica and I also ban the BBK, then the Huayang can extinct the Arbiter, right? So Carnik actually locks in that Mort here. to try to fight against, I guess, counter Emil Hwayoung. That's a
Well,
very
you know,
interesting
50-50s are usually something we discourage on the ladder. Veronica banned through because he really wants to play the BBK, and of course banning out the ML payload as there is no combat readiness control. But as I was saying, I think 50-50 is something you shy away from in the ladder because at best you have a 50% chance to win your match. But when you're behind in a tournament and you feel like maybe your opponent is a little bit overwhelming, I don't actually think it's like the worst thing to do. If I'm playing against somebody, if I go up against AB, bro, I'll take a 50-50, you know what I mean?
I would agree with you only if you're not first pick. You know, Flaccid did have that first pick spot here in the draft, and I feel like he kind of fumbled it on the 2-3. But Carnik immediately taking that first one with the C-Times of Baltus, pressing the buttons. The Celine actually does go onto the BBK. It does not stun. And we did not see a Secret Art Storm Sword come out, which means it might not be maxed. And Celine is going to go for that Soulburn S3 onto that more. And without that attack buff, it's not going to be able to kill. And
in fact, it's going to get a counterattack here. Ripping out the absolute dignity, following up.
No one can escape.
Oh, so Flaccid did have Secret Art, but it's not maxed. That might cost him the game here. Now, BBK does have maximum damage with the Rage and 1 HP, and his second Immortality is still protected. I mean, Flaccid is going to be in a tough spot, but can you press S3 here? You might not kill a unit if you miss on Celine. So he does go ahead and hold that S3 and S1. RB is going to rip that S3 here, and that Hwayoung is probably
Yeah,
dead.
that Hwayoung looks dead.
Now, Hwayoung was dead on arrival, ladies and gentlemen. Just doesn't have what she needs to get through all this. Shu coming in, but as you said, really a benefactor in these slower matches. But I see two Thieves with some of the biggest S3s on the left side. And of course, our man Mort coming down, putting the foots out. Picks are available online right now. Fear comes up as well, and it just looks deadly for Flaccid Fork. He's hanging on by a thread, and as I said before, a lot of these units are still waiting to get into the show, and some of them have just left the stage right there, ladies and gentlemen, and that's a GG immediately. Gives it up over to the King. Wasn't a hidden Mort that time, I'll tell you what. He was right there.
You know, yesterday we
Carnik
had a
with the
lot of
convincing
2-1 series, and then these games came down to the wire. It was super close, and today, I think now that we got to see a lot of the competitors play, they're really adjusting their strategies and fine-tuning their draft to a point where a lot of it is just them coming out swinging and hitting their opponent with that hard 2-0. Got to see some crazy matches. Not seeing Careless in the lobby right now. Can we confirm that AB is still AB is waiting in the wings, or is AB gone?
You know, something that we've seen in the first two sets here is that, or in that particular set we just watched, like, you really, if you're watching and you do play RTA competitively, or you're trying to push for a certain rank, you have to recognize that you can't just always pick units that are conditional. And what we mean by conditional is units like a red Politis, units like a green Celine, where you're picking them early on in the draft and you're kind of relying on them pressing buttons, right? You have to ask yourself, if they don't press buttons, is this pick still good? If the answer is no, you cannot pick it that early on, right? You have to commit those onto a later pick and try to stay a little bit more neutral and try to address some of their picks a little bit better on, because on paper it makes sense in like kind of like a Guild War format or arena format, but in these RTA formats where like people can just hold buttons, like you cannot pick conditional units too early on. So definitely something that you guys should pay attention to and add into your game as well if you are doing that right now.
Yeah. Now, take us out of the tournament here for a second, but I do think this is worth saying. Valk, I think for the sake of today, especially with how commentary flow has been going, I think you and me pull back and we put weight on Vic.
Yeah, of course.
I think we get the most out of Vic today in terms of our comm style. I've even got some things lined up, but I think we push it to him and then we wait for him to push back out, and then we just take it like that. But on that note, I did want to say something, and I think it builds off the thoughts of what you were saying earlier, Vic, but there's something to really think about with the loss of the third pick format, with the third pick ban protection, and that Smilegate actually has been designing a lot of units as of late that are stronger in third pick based on their kit. And I don't just mean like, oh, these are really strong units, so of course you like them to have in third pick, but units that specifically function better if you know you're going to get them in the match, right? You know, RB, whether you get him or not, he's not usually your only damage dealer you want to draw out, right? So I just want a strong damage dealer. But something like the ML Payray, if you think about, right? Something that synergizes well with other dark units. If you've already got one or two or you plan to draft more on the board, locking her in guarantees value and access to other abilities and skills going on. Same thing with something like the Sea Phantom Politis, right? If you can guarantee, if somebody needs that buff and you can guarantee they'll get it from her by putting her in third pick, doesn't matter who goes into the rest of the slots, right? They know they're going to have access to that. So I think it's important to think. I know a lot of players have been saying, it's nice coming back to this format, but I also think you really do want to think about how units were designed and how units have been designed, because you can see a very different attitude in the functionality that Smilegate has been pushing ever since third ban protection about what you can guarantee for value. And as we said before, in Vic's Wildland, there are no guarantees.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, like, third pick ban protection really favors units like the Harsetti, right? Like the Young Senya. Like we saw yesterday where, Light's drafting style has that Albedo on 3, locking in your mitigation to ensure that your units have a lot more survivability in your draft, right? Yeah, absolutely. Like, these units are designed, but like in our first set with Higa versus Lunar, like they picked Harsetti on the 1-2, not even on 3, right? And a lot of the feedback as a community as a whole, right? We say that, third pick ban protection really heavily favors Harsetti. If you remove third pick ban protection, Harsetti is not, playable. I mean, we saw it get played. So maybe the community, like, do we really know what we're talking about? Like, I don't know. But so far this tournament, like with the third pick ban protection being removed, a lot of the focus comes down to like the core fundamentals of drafting, right? Is first pick, you're going to want to ban last, right? Second pick, you're going to want to like lock in your picks and make sure you know what you're going to ban before you pick it, right? So these drafting fundamentals are really, really important in these drafts. And with some more inexperienced players, they might not know this, right? People that haven't played the earlier seasons of RTA where they only know ban protection, right? This is a very foreign idea, right? Which is why when we have players like the Jellos, like the ABs, like the players that have been around for years and years and years since the beginning of time, like they're pretty familiar with it, right? So we'll see how this match between Isuko and ExJello go out. Very excited for it. Rooting for both.
And one thing I like to highlight was when we started round 1 yesterday, ExJello was sitting comfortably in challenger rank, spamming Monster Hunter. And by the time we went live today, ExJello's already in champion rank, so he has been at least practicing it up a little bit, not wanting to get left behind there. And whoever wins here will be moving themselves on to the money, so I mean, whatever hours you put into practice, surely it's worth a $275 return at the very least. Isuko, though, with the first pick, will be able to pick up the Lone Wolf Parrot, and we are seeing it here once again. The Lone Wolf Parrot versus Sea Phantom Politis trade, Vic. What's your experience with this, and which side of the matchup do you like to be on?
So I definitely like the Lone Wolf Parrot matchup. It keeps you really flexible in the draft. You get an opener if your opponent just plays a little bit slower. You have the ability to cleanse turn 2. We see, New Moon Luna not banned. Obviously, ExJello is opting to go for Sea Phantom Politis and a Taiwan. Guess what's Lone Wolf Parrot's specialty? Running Sweet Miracle. So you don't even care about debuffs. You don't care about getting stunned. You don't care about ML Lua. A lot of the units that can kind of crowd control that ML Parrot like goes out the window. And so ExJello taking that Sea Phantom Politis and that ambitious Taiwan basically says, you know what, I'm not backing down. I know I'm faster than you. I'm going to run you down. Are you going to pick an Illinav? Because if you do, I can still pivot with my 3-4-5. So Isuko has to be really careful here in choosing his next 2 units. And, we'll see. I'm really glad to see that Harsetti pre-ban, though. And he does decide to go for that Illinav to try to counteract the units like Janua's, right? For example, Sea Phantom Politis really heavily favors by granting that rage to Janua and locking in a Sea Phantom Politis early on as well to try to punish the Sea Phantom Politis pick. And before this set actually started, I talked a lot about, Red Politis, Celine, conditional units, right? Making sure you don't pick them too early in the draft, because if you do, people can always pivot and get out of those situations and maybe not press buttons, right? And that makes your unit pick kind of useless. So we'll see how ExJello responds here. He's definitely in the driving seat.
It goes for the bystander Hua Young pick. I think here he's maybe expecting a debuff, a degenerate Red Politis there, just looking to sprinkle in more debuffs. So whenever there's a low amount of damage, high amount of debuff, bystander Hua Young, and by extension, Tori, those types of units will always be taking over a match. So do you think do you think personally it's a DPS Red Politis, or do you think it's a debuff one?
I would say it's most likely Degen. All right, based on Izuku's draft, he still has space to move. Illidan is already a really good anchor versus those strong picks like Gino, like we said. But Jello actually recognizes that, like you said, right? He's playing heavy debuff. He has the Degen Poly maybe, the Death Break by Peyra. You have an anchor. You have a dark unit that can one-shot Illidan if you know ignoring mitigation and damage reduction. So Jello has a great pickup on 3 here by Bystander Huaying, and he also recognizes, hey, you have no cleansers. And like we said yesterday, DDR S3 can sleep the poly, which deactivates her S2 from proccing. So this is actually really well-rounded draft from Jello here, where he's saying, you know what? I have a really good DPS. I can fight your first 3 units. I'm banning bottom 2, essentially. And this DDR will also lock you down and force you to be reactive into me. Izuko does decide to go for the green Celine, and this is not a bad spot here on the 4-5, like we mentioned, because, hey, Sea Phantom Poultice and DDR are going to have to press. And if he is on highest attack EE that we have seen on ladder, it can kill that Huayang if it gets that first S2 and S3 off. And he goes for the Gala to get a little bit more tempo back. That's a bit of a surprising pick. I was not expecting that from Izuko. But, I mean, he does have that Lone Wolf Peyra, and he can threaten to ban his opener in Jello now. So Jello is absolutely going to speed up.
I was actually also going to note that, didn't Jello actually make some good plays with the Midnight Gala yesterday, if I remember correctly? Might also be attempting to steal that away on some aspect. But I also remember, and we all have to remember, that RB is the plague as of recent. He's going to be coming out benefiting once again from all these units that love to see ML Wolf on their side. So RB's going to have to go. And the Mean Bean Machine Green Celine, say with me everybody, is going to have to excuse herself as well. Can't double dip with the Politis as we get into the match once here again. Bastion of Perlucia providing up that shield and, of course, all the protection to the back there as well. Good to see some of the standards going out as the first turn activates. Politis comes back into response. See what it looks like. Resistance is pretty stealth, obviously.
Izuku's running a hostess at the banquet on that gala, so it is an ER gala. But Jello's gear is just so good. The Sea Phantom Politis still tagged her. So, I mean, Izuku's probably like, what the? Like, how is he able to strip out that damage limiter? So she is really vulnerable now. The Politis is not on book. It is 13k. It is a Degen Poly. What debuffs is it going to land?
You're going to need to land the blind on the Ambitious Tywin. He does cleanse it. Oh, man. And this is going to be so deadly. If the stun lands, it's going to remove so many units for... Oh... Goodbye, Gala. Goodbye, Empyrean Illidan. Gala does manage to get that damage limit buff back, but Death Dealer Raid, this is where he comes in. We're so scared of him playing the game. And now...
Is it another strip? It is! The strip lands clean and everybody goes back to sleep. If you were stunned before, you're asleep now. Time to rampage. Time for you to sit the hell down, respectfully. Respectfully, of course, but sit down, let it come, and this is the kind of thing
this is going to be a big hit. Lots of damage comes out on the Soul Burn. Goes into the Illidan, 90,000 damage! And oh my goodness, and GG called it real quick for Isuko. Oh.
I mean, there's a few things that we have to recognize here, right? First of all, that Gala Lilia is actually not resisting the strip from Sea Phantom Politis was a huge one. But more importantly as well, I mean, the match was already over, but Izuku's Sweet Miracle didn't proc on ML Peyra. So you can kind of see that, because it's not max, he also paid the price there. But would it have made a difference because that Gala already got stripped twice? No. But you can see that Izuko, being that, free-to-play player that he is, or low spender, I don't know. But that artifact not proccing, it might cost him in the second match here if it comes down to the wire. So hopefully it procs in the next one.
Yeah, I mean, this is the other thing you have to be careful about, everyone in the tournament here today. IRS Vic is here. Do not get audited. He is checking your artifacts. He is checking your gear, missing pieces, missing anything, right? We need to have ourselves prepared if we want to win in these situations, especially if your strategy hinges upon it, correct? Especially if your strategy hinges upon these factors. But still, I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. There is nothing more dangerous than Jello when he doesn't want to play this game. And the hint that he wanted to go first, so you go back to Monster Hunter, that was the hint he was bringing his A game. And I really do think, and let me just say this as respectfully as I can. Jello's a fucking freak. And he plays like one too. I think there are certain strategies where you try to get around things. You try to do something a little bit special. We saw that with the ER Midnight Gala Lilius. I don't think you get freaky with him. I think the freakier you get, the more comfortable Jello is. And I even think now he's playing very standardly. And that's the most dangerous thing, is somebody who knows what it looks like optimally and knows how to get fresh and funky.
I completely agree
he's
with
playing
that
it from both
assessment.
angles.
I think versus a player like ExJello, where being freaky is his natural element, you have to be stick to the books as closely as you can. And on top of that, you gotta make sure your draft's clean, because if he smells any blood in the water, any weakness, he will just beat you down with it. Oh, Empyrean Ilinov picked up versus Hellion Lua. Not having Hellion Lua is going to be, I imagine, a little bit annoying for ExJello. We know that's one of his favorite characters to play, and with the amount of speed he has, I'm sure he's eyeballing that Lua, wishing that was him right now.
So Izuko actually recognizing that, Lone Wolf Paper gets banned out on ExJello's side. He bans the Sea Phantopolitis that ExJello knows and loves. And the ML Lua is really strong because, like we said before, Lone Wolf Paper can now no longer cleanse, right? That sweet miracle that you get on that first turn is out of the game. So now that ML Lua gets a lot of value, and ExJello decides, you know what? I'm going to lock in that Ilinat, I'm going to lock in that Blood Moon Haste. And the reason why he's taking those two together is because ML Huayang is a great answer into Empyrean Ilinat. And Izuko says, you know what? I'm going to go for ML Shu. I'm going to play Injury. I'm going to work you down over time. And I don't expect him to even speed up even more here, but could we see something like a DDR?
This is actually kind of a bind ExJello's being put in. I think he might have slowed down a little bit too much with those two picks. Urban Shadow Shoe just looks so threatening, especially after the exclusive equipment that gives her stealth. It gives her enough tempo and now safety to be able to safely run over these Empyrean Ilinat, Blood Moon Haze. The tankier you are, the stronger she is.
So Izuko actually taking that Knuckle on 3 paired with the ML Shu there, because he's saying that if you do decide to play Laya into my Monk, I'm going to have ML Shu to injure you down and work away your win condition. And ExJello immediately recognizes I have to speed up. I can't give him all the tempo. I'm going to go with Blue Lua that we haven't seen in such a long time, paired with the Requiem Roana, saying, you know what? I know I'm faster. I'm going to bring a book so that I can soul burn. If you ban my bridge, I have a secondary opener so that if you ban Requiem Roana, likely ExJello's going to speed up even more on the 5 here with the Lua as well to kind of chain and choke you out with the Beguile. So Izuko has to be really careful here in how he responds.
Definitely a tough spot. Go ahead, Divine.
I was going to say, I could definitely feel the intention for ExJello, and he always had the position to pivot there, so I like Izuko picking out another fast option to definitely tell him that he's not going to let him have all the speed. But now it really depends on how he wants to finish this off, especially in the knowledge that one deadly last pick here from ExJello might mean a force ban. So he got to be coming at it with the mentality of playing into this top 4. The Death Deal array makes perfect sense alongside that, giving himself a little bit more control and a little bit more offense should the match get into that slower scale. And of course, what benefits from and what also cleanses helpful on all angles is the Laya as well. Playing into that angle, can I play it fast? Can I play it slow? I think he might just show us in a couple seconds here. As the Festive Ida. Okay.
Yeah, that's not a pick I'm familiar with. Usually you would think that's a pick that slow players use to try to overtake a cleave draft. And here, Isuko has pivoted completely into this control setup. How does a Festive Ida perform versus, a control match? I have no clue, I'll be honest.
This looks like a little bit of a blunder from ExJello's side, because this Festive Ida pick doesn't really make too much sense unless it's a really high speed one, and it is. But Izuko actually does outspeed, but the one thing that's really important is that if he lands this provoke onto Requiem Roana, he's protecting himself from getting reset. But that Festive Ida, if you strip that stealth off, he actually just has to go for the provoke onto the Requiem Roana to deny the S3, and Festive Ida cannot get that pushback onto Izuko's team. So a great heads-up play by Izuko to hold that S3, to not press all of his buttons here. ExJello does go for that S3, and he does land the unbuffable on the shoot and negate some of the damage here, and does get that defense break onto ML Lua as well. Now Nako's turn is going to be huge here. She's going to be able to get that S3, but there's so many units to seal here. Do you seal the Ilinat for the CR? Do you seal the Blood Moon Haze for the passive? Do you seal Festive Ida? There's so many things to seal
Ilinat
here.
actually manages to escape the bind. That is huge, meaning if Death Dealer Rain has a job to do, he needs to get it done, and if he can't, ExJello might just be able to swing back from this.
But this is what we saw said in the beginning of this today. Like, have these players teched out. I mean, ExJello geared a super fast Ida, so it's like he just got outsped as well, and it's not something that's very common for ExJello to get outsped here. Does go for that ML Ilinat S3, rips it into the ML Lua, gets that kill off there. Sweet Miracle does proc for Izuko here, but it is 30k HP. But without the buff there, she isn't going to be able to get her chip damage here, so DDR is going to have to do a lot here for Izuko.
You'll make an excellent specimen.
Now it's finally come to the DDR's turn. He's coming in late, what it seems like. One of his allies already down for good. And as we said before, a lot of the damage is going to be resting on the shoulders of this Shu from now on. Big, massive HP pool, but these guys are going to need to take a sleep if she's going to get back to beating them back with her stick. And of course, he's going to be able to help with that, pushing everyone up with the Pestilence. Now, spreading this plague is going to have to be another key here. She does proc another one of those hits off of the Proof of Valor, increasing, of course, those Venom stacks. A little bit more damage. Of course, the pop damage won't wake everyone up, but what will? Debuffs on Ida. She does not like that. Let's see what the reprisal is. Soul Burn here. Lands at least a blind. Follow-up's clean.
And that's one of the problems where when you do play knockout early on in your draft, you run into situations where if the opposing player actually decides to pick a lot of units that require seals, right? If they have like 8-Time, Blood Moon Haste, Ilnav, there's so many units that you have to seal in a team that Mon can't get as much value where maybe if she only has to seal Ilnav in this GG, right? And we're kind of seeing that right now where there's just so many things that Izuku's going to have to focus down. Like this ML Shu is also unbuffable. So with that Sweet Miracle gone for like 2 more turns, I don't know if Izuku is going to have enough tempo to turn this match around.
And I just want to point out the fact that we said Izuku's the one playing a control composition here, but you know, through some quick acts of Soul Burn, suddenly it looks as though Jello's the one playing control with Izuku's units having, you know, 3 to 4 debuffs each. That is ridiculous.
And Shu does have that 5 focus, but she doesn't have the buff with the unbuffable sticking, so this is not going to have any pop damage. Like, she's not going to be able to take out one of the units as Izuku would like. And it looks like she does go for the S3 Shu anyway to get the damage onto that Blood Moon Haste. And that haste is on Proof of Valor and on counter set. So just super annoying to deal with here. And Requiem Rana is going to be able to get her turns now with the Festive Ida. So, I mean, this is going to get really big value here for Requiem Rana.
Yeah, 20 turns into the game. Requiem Ruana finally gets to play Epic 7. Uses that ultimate. Lots of damage is going to be coming through. 5k apiece. And knocks Izuku right out of the tournament. Jello will be moving on to the top 4 cut and getting himself into that money. Now he can go back to playing some Hunting Horn.
Unfortunate. Unfortunate that he has to continue. No, he doesn't want to, but I mean, that is the burden. That's the burden of drafting. I think that well, really, especially with a couple of the surprises there. We did highlight the Ida, but as I always like to say, Jello knows how to get freaky. He knows how to get a little bit weird, and I certainly don't think that anyone's going to make him play to the tune of their rhythm anytime soon. He's off on his own, and now we're back to this is a titanic matchup.
This is definitely one of the matches of the day. We have Harrison, otherwise known on ladder as 1108. Wow, I mean, I think right now he's probably one of the most proficient cleavers fighting up against, I mean, the granddaddy of the ladder, AB. He's been around, he's been dominating since the dawn of time, so both players are ready. Anything you want to add to the preamble before we kick things off, Vic?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely the clash of the Titans. This is the set that you're going to be wanting to pay attention most for. If you have been alt-tabbed or if you had us on a smaller screen, it's best to fire this up on your main screen because you do not want to miss this matchup. Very likely, whoever wins this set may go to win the entire tournament. Now, a little bit about both players. AB currently ranked 1 on the ladder. He's one of the best players. And like I've said yesterday, he has been since season 1. Legend every single season, has not missed a beat. And you just know he has that experience without playing with that 3rd pick van protection where people have gotten so accustomed to. He is super flexible. And one thing about AB's playstyle is that it's not so much about his first 3 picks. He'll always beat you on the 4-5. Almost always. You look at his E7 GG, he will beat you on the 4-5 99% of the time. So he will, he doesn't have to be fast. He just has a knowledge of matchups, and his units are just built with such good gear. And I mean, Harrison 1108, I mean, he is one of the most profound cleavers currently. He has been popularizing the Elegos cleave throughout ladder. That's been absolutely demonizing a ton of people, myself included. So let's see how Harrison and ABAB play this out.
Well, I mean, you're ranked like what, 40 on the ladder right now, and he's been your father. I can only imagine what's going to happen when top players are having a direct clash like this. Yesterday, we saw AB give us one of the best sets we've seen in a long time when he went up against a Lifton in that BO3. I'm excited to see what this matchup brings us. And wow, what a set of pre-bans.
We see immediately Harrison slams the Ran Elagos into AB's Lone Wolf Payra, saying, you know what, I don't care. I'm taking the first turn. I'm going to play aggressive into you. And let's see how AB responds, because without that third pick brand protection, a really popular anti-cleave option is having Yuffie on 3. And guess what? Harrison pre-banned it. Also pre-banned Young Senya, which also is really strong into AoE cleaves. And so AB is kind of playing on the back foot now. He has to dig deep, reach really deep into his bag, and find some good anti-cleaves that can keep him neutral enough in the draft without dying.
Now, you highlighted that he's being put on the back foot. As a first pick player, how does a first pick player get put on the back foot?
Well, I mean, if you get out, if someone locks Ran Elagos into you and says, I'm faster, that's going to be on the back foot. You're going to have to think about, do I really want to race this guy knowing how fast Harrison is? I mean, we all know he's like 327, 328 Ran. That's demonic, right?
He's getting faster, too, with those speed imprints coming in as well.
Exactly. Careless went for the Veronica BBK answer there with the imprint lead, and Harrison decides, you know what, I'm going to go with Wanderer Silk, and Requiem want to take that first turn. And remember what I said before this set even started. AB always beats you on the 4-5. It's not about the 1-3. He locks in the Bellion, trying to deny that soul burn, take away the Ran Death Brick, or take away the Elagos soul burn pushback into the Payra. Goes with the RB, recognizing that Harrison actually doesn't have a way of dealing with an extinction, so immediately the RB is a force mana, and the Blitica goes out to protect his Bellion and BBK from getting unbuffed. So this is anybody's game. I mean, is this an ER BBK on AB side? This for sure is going to be a 3F Bellion, right? So this can go either way. We'll see. I mean, who knows? Anyone can win this one.
You heard it here. It's a coin toss, at least in Vic's eyes, and I'd say he might be right about that because his eyes are so goddamn beautiful. Ignoring all that anyway, Ran coming in with the Silver Rain, getting a little bit of help to the rest of his team. Have an attack buff, will you? We got some things to do. And he's setting them up perfectly here with the second strike. Let's see some defense breaks going up, and the Stigma as well.
Wow, that's
no,
the damage.
All the defense breaks landed. The Requiem Run S3 might kill off a unit here with 8k HP. You know it's really high attack, and that Elagos is going to proc. Counter does come up from the Bellion here, and it does strip the second immortality off the BBK here. Elagos does finish off the BBK, and this is most likely going to be GG with the Bellion being death broken.
Wow, quick match with concise action right there. The Ran just absolutely taking over the match, just the buff strips, taking away the immunity, and then the follow with the Requiem Roana, that was well set up. You would almost think that with, you know, 2 openers, an imprint, and a Requiem Roana, Harrison might not have enough damage, but that was exactly enough to get her done.
And that's the thing about Harrison's playstyle. I mean, like, if this was not AB versus Harrison, you always want to identify the pre-bans and what it's going to tell you, right? Young Senya, it tells you that he's going to want to play some kind of AoE cleave, right? Fiend, right? Denying you the Elbrus, the prot set Fiend, the CR manipulation, that it reduces your combat readiness by 50%, right? So, I mean, AB does get that first pick, but he must be thinking, like, that 4-5 was not strong enough. His options were really limited, right? The Bellion denying the souls, but didn't protect him from getting death broken. You can't go a Miki there either, so it's just a really tough spot for him to play. And, oh, man, I hope this at least goes to game 3, because this is going by a lot faster than we were expecting.
It's going by a lot faster, but speaking of hanging on, Careless's connection hanging on by a thread. The smoke signals just reaching Smilegate HQ as we connect into the next match here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we saw the bans out before. I think we're going to even learn a little bit more, as you said, by the third bans here. Vic, I want to hear your opinions when they do come in.
So if I'm AB, right, like, there's so many units that you have to ban. There's the Lunas, there's the Rans, there's the Elagos. And AB does decide to go for the Ran ban, and Harrison is going to go for the Bellion ban, which indicates maybe he wants to go for some kind of Soulburn cleave, right? Maybe you go for like a Ludwig, but you can't go Ludwig on 3 without ban protection. So immediately, Lone Wolf Hero gets picked up by AB, and Harrison immediately locks in that Elagos Luna that he has been picking and terrorizing everybody on ladder with. And AB is definitely going to have to rethink, does he want to go Veronica +1 on the 2-3? Because if he does, Harrison is not going to back down in a speed race.
And, you know,
give him
one thing I certainly did not expect is the New Moon Luna finally making it into the draft on second pick. Most players have been taking that away first thing as their primary option, and for Harrison to be able to pick it up on second, what does that say about their... Oh my god, they're picking up so fast. What does that say about their playstyle and how these matches will turn out?
So AB basically picks Lone Wolf Payra because he really highly prioritizes that, right? He says, you know what, Luna doesn't really matter because I have the speed to back it up. I have the speed to race you, and I have a cleanser. And immediately, as you see, right, instead of trying to beat him on the 4 or 5, he locks in the double imprint, recognizing that Harrison is playing extremely greedy here, only having a 14, which means that he's going to be down 1 imprint where he is up 2. And that first turn can make or break this game. So we'll see who gets the first turn here. For sure, AB is going to ban out a 14 imprint, and Harrison will ban out another imprint as well. And this is just going to come down to the wire on who goes first.
Ooh, I do imagine this is favored towards the Elagos, though. Harrison, known for having one really fast DPS set, and in a setup like this, I can't imagine that gear being on anybody other than the Elagos. But hey, maybe AB knows something we don't. The Ram was pre-banned out. Maybe that's his one fast set of gear. Let's see who gets it.
He doesn't get the first turn.
I was about to say, I think we're playing with a demon. This is a lot of strategy that's gone into a very simple bet. Who's better? Who's him? And unfortunately, there's nobody who fits that profile quite like Elagos. Shot rings out. Both the debuffs are down. Warhorn doesn't matter here because the New Moon Luna is up into action. That Soul Burn is saying a lot more than she ever needs to. And what's waiting out in the wings? It's the rest of her team to do what needs to be done. Of course, that Eternal Wanderer, Ludwig, he heard those souls being burned. He wanted a piece of that action. He's about to drop the bomb here in a second. Is this another clean sweep? Oh, they're all gone in one shot.
Wow, what a set. Now, I know it looks like there was a lot of burst action, but seriously, this is a closer set than we thought. If just a different character had gone first, this set could have went completely the other way. Honestly, close games.
Jello coming back just to shout the cleaner.
And that's just the difficult part about fighting somebody like Harrison, right? Like, he has such a good speed. I mean, he just has really good top speed. He has good speed spread, and he just doesn't care, right? He's like, you know what? If I gotta spend, I don't care. Like, I gotta spend all the time on ladder. Well, maybe not all the time, but if he does, he actually doesn't even care. Like, the stake, he doesn't care about the stakes. He's not thinking about, oh, this is a tournament, whatever. I'm just gonna pick whatever the hell I pick on ladder, and I'm just gonna outspeed you. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, AB, you know, I like the adjustment that he made in game 1. He decided to beat him on the 4 or 5 with the belly and with an RB, recognizing that didn't really work out. So he decides to go for the double imprint on the 4 or 5 to try to race. And unfortunately, if you want to race Harrison, it usually ends up in a loss.
Ooh, and that will be the quarterfinal round of Vic's RTA Archaeology Tour. Let's taking a quick look at the bracket. Ooh. Oh shit! I gotta do the manual input, don't I? All right, boys. What were our scores again? I was hoping to guess.
Here. I thought it was 2-0 before.
Okay, so I mean, Harrison went 2-0 versus AB. ExJello Isuko was ExJello winning 2-0, right?
Yeah. So yeah, the Jello was 2-0.
Carnik versus Glitchless was Carnik 2-0, and then what happened? Higa versus Mossman.
2-0 for Lunar.
2-0 for Lunar. Wow. So
yeah, it's just been 2-0s. Yeah.
It's been a lot of 2-0s. Yeah. You know, yesterday we saw some close series. So if you look at our top 4 cut right now, we got Lunar versus Carnik lining up first. Harrison versus ExJello as the second set of matchups. Wow. So all of these guys are in the money, and these have been some really, really tight matches, I'd have to say. Yeah. You know, just to fill in.
I think Harrison is just running a bunch of side quests right now, right? He's like, I made Legend, boring. I went Arena, I hit rank 1, boring. And now he's like, you know what? I'm gonna come take some tournament winnings as well and just get even richer. So this guy is just filthy rich.
Yeah, the rich gets richer, and now, oh man. All right, double check with these guys. If they need to go take a potty break, they should. Otherwise, whenever they're ready, honestly, I think we can run it. So now matches will be moved up to a best of 5 following the semifinals. So there will be more time for each competitor to get familiar with each other. More room for them to be able to adjust around each other's mistakes. And I think now this has become more of a skill-based game than ever before.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between a best of 3 and a best of 5 is that you have the option of you have that extra game, right? That extra game is a lot, right? Even if you do go down 2-1, you can still pull it back. Even if you go down 2-0, you can reverse sweep, right? When it comes to a BO3, it's like you just have one game, your first pick, the second pick, you get bad RNG, it's done, right? Best of 5, at least you have a little bit of breathing room to kind of come back. If you do get a bad RNG loss, you're still not out of it. You still have a one extra game to kind of get yourself out.
Yeah, that breathing room gives you the time to collect yourself, just like Valk has to over at the restroom. But I'm not going to take a rest on you, Vic. I'm going to really zoom in on this and really want to hear your opinions and your thoughts so far. We have Lunar, who's been making an absolute tear through the tournament, getting onto that high key mentality, and King as well. What do you think going into this, knowing what both players know is their attitude, especially knowing that they're so close to that big payout?
I mean, like in this format, like you really have to just make sure you keep yourself cool. Right, just remember it's one game at a time, and this is where you're gonna see the difference between maybe someone like Lunar, where he has like 7-8 frames of being in Legend, playing competitively and going for those higher ranks. Where Carnik maybe doesn't have too much experience. I mean, who knows how many games that he has really played? He's a little bit of an unknown warrior. Call it an underdog if you will. But the most important is just keeping calm, not worrying about who's in front of you and who you're playing. Just one game at a time. Anyone can be anyone. Pick good units. Make good drafting decisions, right? Focus on the 4 or 5, focus on last pick, and focus on pre-bans. What is the pre-bans going to tell you about the story in terms of how they're going to want to play? Is the Harsetti open? Is the Emalua open? Is the Lone Wolf Hero open? What is going to be good, right? Pick those units up early on and make sure not to give too much respect to the other opponent. Because if you do, someone like Lunar, they can totally run you over, right? So you really have to pick carefully in the draft.
Yeah, I see absolutely what you're saying here on this mentality, at least checking the players on this mentality. Have to say, though, however, if I imagine Harrison and Jello, they are absolutely going to just ego farm each other, and that's what I'm really excited for. But we still got this match right here. It's going to be a good one, and it seems like Valk's back from the bathroom. We're ready to dump this match. We might as well get into it, right, ladies and gentlemen?
Exactly. And oh man, you know what I really want to see is more of those like standard pivots, right? I think that's the biggest thing about this format is nobody gets to guarantee their opener. Everybody has to pivot around each other, and it's just units that are good standalone. You pick good units, building a team with those, and finding those hidden synergies is how you take those wins. But oh man, just seeing these guys imprint of getting in the car and just crashing into each other has been crazy entertaining.
It absolutely has been, and the pre-bans that are going to be coming out here, Mossman does opt to ban the Harsetti and the ML Payra, and Carnik bans Fireflan and Harsetti, sticking to what he knows. And with the Lone Wolf Payra pre-ban, we've said this so many times before, but you have to remember, ML Lua, Hellion Lua is at an all-time high in terms of stock value. New Moon Luna also all-time stock value, because Lone Wolf Payra is one of those units that can actually cleanse both of those characters. And Lunar does lock in the New Moon Luna here, and we'll see what Carnik does here. In previous matches, we've seen him just decide to just go fast. He does go for the C Phantom Politis. Are we going to see him speed up and pick something like a Veronica on 2, or is he going to want to stay kind of neutral with the second pick here?
It's hovering a mage. Oh, there it is. I was wondering, hovering a mage is definitely not Ida this early into the draft, but does it in fact pick himself up a Zeo? And now I think both players may be looking to wrestle for control. And, if the pattern holds, I think Lunar takes a more of a turn 2 pivot here, which would signal Carnik going, oh, you're going slow, let me pick up, stuff to bully slow players. Knockwall, the Urban Shadow Shoe, and then Lunar goes, psych, and then speeds back up. But Zeo is there to hold down everything up top, so I wonder if that's going to be the reality, or does Lunar just say, no, we race this.
And this is where we get to see the power of first pick shine, right? I'm glad that you brought up the fact that he has a New Moon Luna and want to pivot to a bit of a slower playstyle. He actually says, you know what? I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but he's going to pick Veronica on 2 here for the 10 imprint lead. He does have, maybe he has immunity on Luna. He doesn't even care about the Zeo. Goes for the BBK on 3, and he says, you know what? I am not respecting you. I don't care if you pick Zeo. I'm going to just continue picking what I want to pick, and I'm just going to try to beat you down with the BBK and with the Veronica. And again, we have seen ER BBK come out, right? You never know, because you can't assume that's a speed BBK just because we see the Veronica and the Luna come out here. So Carnik has to be really cautious in what he picks on the 3-4 here. Does he run away? Does he commit to playing more aggressive? this is going to be really crucial. But Lunar does have the upper lead here, because if Carnik does overcommit here with more speed units, Lunar has that 4-5 to punish him and ban last here as the first pick here. And Carnik decides, you know what, I will slow down. I will pick that Abyssal Euphine. I'm going to try to cut down some of your CR. And actually locks in a Requiem Roana with Abyssal Euphine. What is going on, right? Everything that we know is just out the window. I mean, Lunar now is in the driving seat. And the reason why I say this is because if he has the speed to cover Carnik, he can absolutely speed up here and just say, I'm going to ban Zio no matter what, and I'm just going to try to run you over and take that first turn. And so does Mossman have all of his top speed gear on the units? Did he spread it out for a best of fives, expecting that he would advance into the semis and the finals? We'll see.
The Requiem Roana pick is certainly interesting because she gets such a strong turn when you can boost her with the Zio, but also, you know, if the Zio is banned and Lunar is already up 1 imprint, Carnik might get left in a pretty awkward spot, and now, I think trying to bypass the Requiem Roana, you're just going to park one of your squishy units behind Dragon Bride Senya. Not a bad pickup. Now, you know, once again, we're just seeing these players pivot and pivot and pivot once again around each other, and there it is. It's the cleave opening into the double tank American draft. We got the burger going on, sandwiching this juicy core in the middle with 2 hefty tanks that are just so hard to get rid of.
Worry not. The
And if you're gonna get something as hefty as the Blood Moon Haste, you're gonna have to call in a doctor to see how we could pull that back. And does come in with the Death Deal Array on board and on stat. Look at that beautiful draft. We've got all dark on the left and a whole mirageny of it's really a bunch of MLs and like 1 free to play option on the right. But still, it does mean something to see these two clashing into. Bans are about to come through here.
I do wonder if that Zio makes it around.
This is where that experience from Lunar actually comes through here, right? He recognizes that, you know what, I do have that imprint lead. I could go faster, but in a tournament setting where the stakes are at an all-time high, maybe he doesn't want to subject himself to that speed RNG. And he recognizes that, you know, I can pick 2 anchors here that can address the entire draft here, and that is exactly what he wanted to opt for, and that's where that experience comes through here. Now, that Zio is going to definitely take the first turn here, unless it's an absolute fraud, but I don't expect that to take the case. So that means Requiem Roana is going to be able to rip an S3 here. And is it going to be an ERBBK? We'll see.
Zio, of course, coming out into the front here, starting us off on the semifinals of the tournament so far. Going to have to take a look at what his target is here. What do you think, Valk?
Well, I think it's a little bit tough to say, but I think here if you land the silence on the BBK, it is absolutely huge. I might even favor Carnik with the draft here. Requiem Roana, though, that's who you really care about. And if you reset this entire team, well, doesn't take away this effect nullifier off the Luna. So
will it land on the BBK here?
It does land. It does strip at least.
Yeah.
As far as reset goes, every single character besides the Luna got reset. Luna here still has access to her book, still has Moon's Judgment, so we'll still be able to put out a lot of work.
The odyssey of your life.
See Phantom Politics just pushing everything back. Can the solo Luna hold it down? I think that's going to be the question of the match.
So the one thing that's really huge for this New Moon Luna here is that Soulburn S3 is going to basically make this game a 3v4. Requiem Roana is not going to be able to get another turn. The Yuffie is not going to be able to get that fighting spirit. And you know what about BBK? The lower HP she gets, the more speed she also gets. So having her at that 45% HP threshold, I mean, that BBK is going to get a huge increase in speed, and it might be able to cut in front. And if she does get that S1 off, she's going to protect her second immortality, and this game is going to go down to the wire because that Blood Moon Haste does have Proof of Valor, and he will have to work that down first. Not getting the defense pick from the Requiem Roana is huge, and Veronica is going to be able to push that team up a little bit, and Luna S2 does chop a ton of damage off. So that Luna S2 can set up that BBK on second rotation for a massive S3 to swing the tide.
So careless.
Now, Carnik does go for the Zio S1 onto the Blood Moon Haste, not really doing enough damage to get a kill here. Luna S2 at 23.9k HP, definitely on the higher end here of players, and he's going to go for the S2. Which target is he going to go for?
I can't take care of you.
We'll see here in a second. Comes down on the Zio. He resists. A little bit of defiance from the young man. So we get back into this. Ooh, not exactly a great situation. He does have the soul burn here, and he's hoping to get the attack down, but he doesn't on the BBK, as well as lowering her HP, which means this eventual swing is going to hurt even harder.
Don't be nervous.
Ooh, and one more turn by the Sea Phantom Politis. I wonder if there's room for her to potentially be able to strip the BBK. He does go for it, doesn't do enough damage, and now BBK, though, maximum power. The Zeo is prepped and ready. Requiem Roana's ready. No stealth for him, so that he will be taking the full brunt of that damage, but just another S1. Wow, Lunar playing so calculated, not wasting any single turns here.
Luna does have another S2 available to get that defense break, which he did not land on that first turn for Luna. But BBK does have that second immortality now and is not resetting. Carnik recognizes this and instantly surrenders and moves on to the next match. Mossman is going to be up 1 game in this best of 5, and I mean that was a masterclass from Lunar, right? Like that, you know, Carter King's draft was it was all over the place almost. Like he picked Yufine and Requiem Roana. It's almost like half, right? Like you have to commit if you're gonna play aggressive, if you're gonna play the Zeo and you want to run over somebody, you have to just commit to it. You cannot play to lose or play to not lose, right? You have to play to win, and you know, we'll see. This is going to be a really important game too for Carnik because if he doesn't win this game, he will be down 0-2 in a best of 5. You definitely do not want to go down 2 games right away.
So if he doesn't want to get, you know, put in that awkward 0-2 spot, which it's so hard to make a comeback from, what is the #1 most important thing he needs to do? Do you think it's putting together a consistent composition for himself? Do you think it's he needs to take away certain key units from Lunar?
You have to ban New Moon Luna, right? Like New Moon Luna has to go, and that's exactly what he does. And Lunar recognizes that he is going to be an aggro player, so he has to ban the Zeo as well, right? So he doesn't want to see that in the game. He wants to take that first turn. And Carnik really heavily favoring that C-Pan and Politis playstyle, and he does go for it. Now, Lunar is a very experienced player. We have said this time and time again, and with the Lone Wolf Parrot being pre-banned, Hellion Lua is extremely powerful. And so Lunar actually decides to go for the Veronica first as a speed lead. And will we see a BBK early come out here as well? We just might, but without third big ban protection, you cannot guarantee an opener. So you will technically have to pick 2 openers potentially, depending on the draft and how Carnik responds on the 2-3.
Really eyeballing that early BBK. I'm just wondering if the opener, once the opener shakes down, you know, does Carnik go, hey, you're down, Hellion Lua, you haven't picked her yet? You know, does he do the thing where he grabbed both openers left? Or is this a case where he's more so just this time, because last time he tried really hard to counterplay Lunar, and I think it kind of collapsed. The game plan collapsed on him a little bit, so maybe he builds his own composition right there. You go for the classic, you know, we pick up the 8 Tywin, maybe even go for like a Genu or something, but no, goes for a Conqueror Lilius. So he's really looking to stack up all of that gear score value with his openers. See Phantom Politis being able to put out Enrage, which is attack and speed, and Conqueror Lilius, attack and defense. Maybe he's looking to really slug it out with his opener here.
And if that intentionality does speak to a longer match, of course, we might see some of those standard fare options with the Blood Moon Haste that Lunar's always so familiar with the ML Rat that we keep appearing out today. But someone we haven't seen as of yet, never mind, we can go back to the box. Archdemon Mercedes, a little bit more familiar to us right now, hoping positively to posit out some of those more troublesome passives as, well, Blue Payra comes out to make a splash here. What's the plan on that, Vic?
Well, I mean, Lunar, his Payra is fast, let me tell you. It might have been a season or 2 ago, but he was doing that ML Senya Blue Payra cleave and just spamming on ladder and just tearing people with that fast Blue Payra. I mean, this is a great pickup. You know why? Because he's able to unbuffable the Poly. He's able to unbuffable the Conquer Lilius, denying the Rage, denying the Vigor, basically denying the speed up and denying the mitigation that comes with Vigor. And now, one thing that we did say is he might have to pick a secondary opener, right? Because without third pick ban protection, you cannot guarantee that pair to go through. So if you play a little bit too greedy here and you pick just like a bridge and you pick another opener, I mean, one of them might get banned, and Carnik does still have a lot of space to maybe double imprint up and just say, you know what, you're not going to outspeed me here. And so Mossman does decide to go for the ML Lua on 4 here. Carnik recognizes, you know what, I'm going to give you that first turn. I don't care. I'm not going to contest you on the speed. You're already up an imprint on me. I'm going to go designer a little bit because guess what? Your Blue Parrot lands 8 out of 8. Your Veronica has a bunch of stuns that needs 2 turns. The ML Lua has an AoE provoke. And guess what? You can also potentially reset that BBK. So if you proc it on that first turn, if you somehow get that immortality off, that Dilbit's going to give you a huge return for your money. And so also locks in that ML Hua-Young. I don't love that pick from Carnik because I do see the idea that he has here, but in the case where maybe he Lunar actually picks another DPS that's strong to his entire team, I mean, he might be in a little bit of trouble here. But you know, we have been talking, or I've been yapping about these conditional units. You know what conditional unit looks really good right now, Val?
With which one?
The green Celine sounds pretty good to me. What do you think about that one?
The mean bean.
The mean bean green machine herself, Green Celine, comes back in. I think here, once you lock in the Ida, you gotta ban the designer a little bit. While I do think there is value to a Green Celine, you know, the fear is versus a Conqueror Lilius, she is just going to hold all the cooldowns. Sea Phantom Politis do like to press a little bit more, but hey, when you think you're going to be going first, might as well just take the Ida and try to run away with the match. Nothing wrong with that game plan. Bloodblade Corinne banned out just because that's a stronger carry in this setting. But hey, don't count out Ida. I think Ida, especially you know, when there's no mitigation knight, still outputs a whole lot of damage and actually has a pretty good matchup versus Designer Lilibet. I think as long as he plays around that, I'd say Lunar looks like he's definitely having a chance to win this.
Lunar's in a very good spot here. Like, you're right. Without mitigation, a blue Ida can do a ton of damage, especially if you're able to get that attack buff up from Payra that she gives here. And I mean, this is gonna rip into Carnik. This is gonna come down to a lot of like, it's gonna be a huge gear check, right? And we do see that Mossman is gonna be able to get that S3, foregoing that S2, not granting Dillibat that defense buff. And Ida does have the souls to rip that Soulburn S2 into an S3. Let's see exactly how much damage that we're gonna be able to see here from Lunar's Ida.
All right, Soulburn comes through, attack buff. The damage is not looking very favorable for Lunar here. You usually want the Ida to, you know, at least kill 1 to 2 units and then cripple the rest with the stuns, but stun does land on all 4. Designer Lilibet gets pushed back, and I wonder if this is even a good spot for him to be in.
This is definitely not a good spot for Lunar, but one thing that he's probably positioning for is to try to overload the debuffs and let Veronica S3, S1 with the attack buff to try to pop that bomb while that Dillibat is death broken to do as much damage as possible, right? Now, with this, like we said, he can S3, S1. Will it be enough damage to kill Dillibat? I don't think so, but I would like to be proven wrong for once.
Oh, but hey, the more debuffs you land on Designer Lilibet's team, she's going to be able to just zoom up the CR bar. And I think here, Lunar's going to opt to try to make a pick on the Sea Phantom Politis. At least this way, you get a guaranteed unit removed, does take her out. Designer Lilibet finally gets the turn, and now surely she cleanses here, at least gives Conqueror Lilius and Archdemon Shadow a chance to play the video game, be able to get himself a fighting chance and get back into the game. Counterattack does come through.
I desire
Yeah, the damage just doesn't seem to splash that much. Obviously, multiple stealths up and the skill nullifier preventing a lot of that actually coming through. So it's going to have to fall on the Archdemon Mercedes, I suppose, of all characters to get something done here. But it just seems like he's picking away, really. Not too much consequential. The team hasn't received the Vigor buff coming out of the Conqueror Lilius yet, so hasn't augmented their defensive or attack applications. And I don't think it's going to get much better now. A little bit of protection, maybe some attack breaks on the enemy team. Can't even get it on the Ida. I'm worried that it's not looking to be up in Carnik King's favor, but you know, it's cool. He got crit damage up from his pure white trust.
That resist was really big too, and now I think as long as Lunar can tunnel it in on the Archdemon and not let her pop off any more than she already has, actually still in it for him to win. Does get the soul burn, get the stun in, and now with the speed buff as well, he's still going to be able to fight for a chance to take over the game. And I think Carnik King needs to get that Ida out of here. If she ever gets that second rotation, I think he's in for a whole world of pain.
Oh, dual attack into another stun. I was gonna say all the AoE on left side from Carnik King, and it didn't break the barrier on the Payra, meaning she has that increased chance to stun, and she sure put it to work. Defense break on top as well. Veronica can't even be put down. She'll get another swing out before the end. You could see Vic's face, and I think Carnie might be making the same exact expression right now, because this is no bueno. This is no bueno at all.
We gotta see that Veronica yesterday. We know she is hella tanky, but god damn, like not
exactly.
You know, making picks and then also just hostaging your opponent. This Veronica, you know, a free 4-star character, really holding down this draft.
You dare stop me?
No, 100%. And I think if Carnik watched Lunar's matches yesterday, he would know that that's a super tanky Veronica that was able to tank a BKS1. And that Dilbert, I mean, she really does need to get some kills here because she's going to lose value real soon if the rest of her team dies.
Soulburn misses, making up for that earlier dual attack stun, and now I think RNG slightly equalized on both sides. Another bit of a dual attack, getting the Ida combat readiness push, but designer Lilibet says no.
No F4.
Oh, defense buff and vigor together, and that's why you really want those buff for the extra gear score value. The attack scaling, the defense scaling, really just sent that Ida packing, and now does Lunar even come close to having enough damage to close out the match? That is honestly a huge question. Oh, that's
what actually drags the Dilbert. So Carnik might actually be tuned to make sure that the Dilbert does get dragged over something, say like a Conqueror Lilius with some wasted attack substats. And Lunar is just going to surrender and drop that FF and bring that to a 1-1. It's anybody's game. It's anybody's game.
And like you said, he really needed to make sure he equalized this matchup. Do not put yourself in an 0-2 position in a best of 5. And now, this is just almost like a bracket refresh. We're back to a best of 3.
Of course, these players are both now taking a bite each other. I think the first time, we've seen a back and forth all of today. Just 2-0s across the board. So these guys are going to have to heat up. Maybe both of them have woken up from their dizzy. Because as I say all the time, right? Winning does not teach you as much as losing. And now both of these have come ready. Both of these players have come ready to school the other.
Ooh, and, you know, once again, Lunar opts for that first pick. So powerful in this format. Not surprised in any way, shape, form whatsoever going back into it. I think Lunar now needs to find a way where not only can he get that first turn control, but also at least be able to leverage it, use a more impactful units to be able to hold down this game. Last game we saw him get the first turn, but Ida wasn't really enough. Didn't have enough punch in her kit to really close out the game. And this time we see 2 more openers banned. Hellion Lua removed. Sea Phantom Politis removed. Carnik loves that character. Finally removed. And I think now Lunar with the first pick. Do you go for the Conqueror Lilius? That is about the last good opener that's left in the game. Lest we go into more Ran draft, more Payro drafts.
And immediately Lunar does go ahead and take that Conqueror Lilius, recognizing that, hey, all the other openers are banned. And we're just rolling the patch back. I can't even speak because Carnik immediately slams the Ran on 1 with the Veronica on 2, saying, you know what, I'm just going to go faster. There's no Zio, there's no Harsetti, there's no Luna. Like, there's no way you're going to outspeed me. And he just says, you know, I'm going to take the first turn. And this is where that experience is going to come in here. Lunar has to stay calm and pick some 2-3 units here that are going to be neutral enough but strong enough for the anti-cleave. So will we see maybe some, like, Elena, AOL, A-Taiwan, since we're rolling the patches back, I mean, what are we going to see?
I mean, Sid Silk is certainly on the table, but I do think that Ran Veronica is such a strong lead, and, you know, if you don't have any info on your opponent, are you willing to take a Conqueror Lilius into Ran race, even if it means you're up 1 imprint? And you know, just as like a quick summary for everybody at home who might not have gotten into one of these races before, first pick has always had an advantage, but Conqueror Lilius is 7 base speed slower, 8 base speed slower than a Ran, actually. So it's not exactly a race you want to take. Abyssal Eutheme being locked in here for Lunar, as well as Blood Moon Haste. That is just the steadiest anchor in the game. You can't combat readiness push through this, and you cannot make any single target picks. You have to send the entire draft home in one fell swoop.
And I love to hear the race talk out of you there, Valk. Now we're gonna see that conversation continue here with Carnik on left side, of course, bringing out Death Dealer Ray and Bloodblade Karen, some of my favorite dark units along in the game to continue that race conversation as you were talking about. As Bystander Huayong also joins the fray on right side. All jokes aside, though, of course, action's heating up, and as of course, you're going to see the 5th pick here out of Lunar, really finishing up the draft, and then, of course, the response coming out of Carne, that force ban option. What do you think we might be looking at there in terms of that, Vic?
Unfortunately, it's another dark unit. I don't mean to make it about race, but it's designed a little bit. It's probably pretty good. You know, he has DDR, he has Veronica, against Ran. We just saw Carnik pick Dilibet into Lunar, right? And so Lunar must be thinking, you know what? I have 3 anchors: Fiend, Blood Moon Haze, ML Hua. I just need a cleanser, right? And that's exactly what he's thinking, right? He's hovering that designer a little bit right now.
He's certainly staring at those Lillipits, and they do come out. Now, of course, Carnicane's got it fought.
We'd be doing a little bit of trolling around here.
What's
going on?
Lover.
What's
All
happening?
right, Janua
First
gets locked
time.
in for
No,
Carnik.
don't say that. Don't say that. First time, Janua appearing and will be gone just as quick. I was about to say that's definitely a ban. Bans on 5th for both sides. Opponents respecting each other, obviously, so they get into the match.
Well, and notice that the deeper we get into the tournament, the more we see this last pick handshake, which is something you used to see super commonly when it came to a draft, right? Both players able to find the good 4-5, unbeatable 4-5, in fact, and you know, at that point, handshake, respect, take it out of each other, and we just play top 4 both sides.
Exactly, and I mean, like, this is a really scary spot to be in for Lunar. However, he does play that Proof of Valor haste that we have seen, that we've talked about, that doesn't die in situations like this. And the Abyssal Fiend is going to be a really strong pick as well, because he's going to be able to cut some of that combat readiness, right? He doesn't have a bridge for that Veronica, and this Conquer Lilius is going to be able to go, but he does have the 2-turn immunity from Ran. We see that Proof of Valor, no defense break landing onto the Blood Moon haste. That is huge, right? Without the defense break, I mean, that haste anchor is going to be able to bring the whole team back. And Conquer Lilius does go for that S3, puts up that Vigor here, and he is going to be able to strip off that immunity on Ran. Who is he going to want to go for here? He cannot lock down any units from that 2-turn immunity being reduced to down to 1.
Drags another
That
dual
looks like
attack.
a
Even with that
Warriors.
Vigor bonus, defense break means Designer Lilibet's damage will be hampered. Veronica fishing for that defense break. This is a huge turn and lands it on the Blood Moon Haze. This is looking a little bit dangerous for Lunar.
Do you smell that?
Oh man, I don't feel so
That's
good.
the smell of
I see 2
This
defense
all
breaks
runs its
on
course.
Lunar, on the Blood Moon Haze, and on the Yuki, and that does look like an Aureus Fiend, by the way. It didn't do any damage on that S1. So what that means is, if he's able to kill from that damage transfer from the Aureus while everything is being death broken, this is for sure going to end up in a 2-1 for Carnik. Will he press S3?
It's dangerous.
No.
He opts to hold it. He respects
but
the
he-
ult that Lunar has.
Yeah, but he does get a beneficial, I would say, dual attack there. Just being able to take down those stacks of the Proof of Valor, which seems to be his focus for now. Wear him down and set up the position. We've seen this time and time again for the BBK to play her favorite game of all. Bystander Hua Young won't be standing by. Needs to get her team back into the game. Kicks Ran straight out of here. Get back to episode 5, motherfucker. As Veronica sets herself back up into position. Possibly needs to get that BBK into the squarely into the place where she can end all of this, and she'll be having a little bit of assistance from Def Dealer Ray in the interim.
I don't feel so good for Lunar because he is in for a world of pain. That BBK is coming around the corner, and she is absolutely going to have that Soulburn S3 and wipe the entire board. There is absolutely no way Lunar's going to be able to survive all of this damage, is he? And the Blood Moon Haze actually tanks it with the Aureus present while being death broken. Divine Vessel actually procs from the ML Hua Young. The Blood Moon Haze not dying is huge, but BBK does have an extra turn to get the S1. Will this be enough damage while she is not 1 HP here?
Surely
this is
this
not
kills.
maximum damage BBK.
You have the attack
we-
buff
we
this
said
time,
before.
takes out the haste out, but Conqueror Lilius, wow, and another turn by the Bloodblade Corinne. You get 50% combat readiness for killing a guy, and just overtakes
Counter.
right there. That counter is big. She's in
Procs her second
immortality now.
I don't want to say something as cheesy as it could be anyone's game, but it certainly seems like Lunar's turning it around. The action's coming through. Kick goes straight onto the Death Dealer Ray's head,
kill.
but he survives just a little bit. I don't think he'll be in office for too long. It seems like he might be put down. Dual attack could easily pull and put him down, but is it possibly time for a little bit of a Sujin? Yes, the Conqueror Lilius pushing back, redirecting, but the Wondrous Poshoval, we saw that earlier. It actually cleansed on first turn, cleansing that off almost immediately, only really providing a barrier here. Can't sleep, can't really do much of anything, but the BBK has come back to take another turn. Now she's at the slim pickings of 100 HP. She's going to do a lot more damage, but not enough to make the final strike. Let's pull it and put an end to all this. One kick, and it's over with.
Boss man,
proving
This will make
why he has ended Legend so many times with that gear coming through, that Hwayang not wanting to die, the defense broken, Blood Moon Haze surviving the BBK Soulburn S3, giving him the win. And that is why that proof of valor Blood Moon Haze is just so damn powerful. It's just that anchor, when you have it behind some kind of mitigation, it just won't go away.
What did we just watch? That was a tight game. I mean, we thought Lunar with that draft was going to be in the driver's seat, and then as soon as that first turn broke down, it almost looked like Carnik was about to run him over, and somehow just through sheer determination and will of Blood Moon Haze not dying through the defense break, really hanging on, and somehow Lunar makes that comeback. I really want to see this set going. I don't give me more of whatever the fuck that was. I'll just say it.
Hey, we've been seeing 2-0s all day so far. I mean, now we're just finally getting a nail biter, and I mean, wow, like what a game from both players. I mean, Carnik is really showing out today, right? He's one of those underdogs that, you know, not a lot of people are familiar with, but he is putting up a great fight. And the deeper that we get into these BO5s with the stacking pre-bans, the options do get limited. So this is where people have to reach really deep into their gear, right? How much of a speed threat do you have? What other units do you have geared? And what is your hero priority on dribbles? Like,
and this is why we have our resident analyst, Des, and Dirk the Jag, coming in chat with the clutch analysis that, you know, he did use the DDR-S1 to fluff up the Abyssal Eufiend. However, if he sent that one attack into the Death Dealer Ray, the injury, the extra damage, surely would have sent Lunar home with that entire turn rotation. That was literally a single S1 away from changing the outcome of that match.
Yep. And the pre-bans do come up from BBK from Lunar's side, and the Blood Moon Haze coming out from Carnik. Carnik does opt to go for Conquer Lily's first pick. Recognize, it's almost like we're running it back, except it's different sides. So Carnik goes to the Conquer Lily, is open. Lunar decides to, you know what, I'm going to take the Ran immediately. I have that thing geared, and we saw in Game 1, Lunar does have a fast pay rate as well. So if this does go to a Game 5, I mean, Lunar can still reach really deep into his pockets for another opener, but he does go for the ML Hwayang here as an anchor versus that Conquer Lilius because it can one-shot her, and it might also make Carnik think twice, right? You can get outsped by the Ran. If you try to tank down a little bit too hard, that ML Hwayang can just kick you in the face and just put you to sleep. So we'll see how Carnik responds. Immediately locks in the Dilibet on 2, recognizing that he has a lot of debuffs coming from that Ran here. And if he does want to play aggressive and play that heavy debuff, he is going to be able to cleanse it off. And we saw it in Game 1. I mean, Carnik had that Conquer Lilius. He had the design a little bit. We saw that it has really good value. So how is he going to lock in a 3-pick here to fight against Lunar's relatively aggressive but also neutral comp?
Laya comes in. I mean, that's a lot of tanky units. All you need here is an Aureus Knight, and suddenly, you know, you got potentially Adamant Aureus, you got the Vigor buff, Laya Designer Lullaby, super tanky, and, you know, I will ask you one thing, Vic. How do you feel about picking the Bystander Hwayang into Conqueror Lilius? You know, I almost forget Conqueror Lilius is a light unit, and you can just get one tapped, but is the extra value, even if you just get a turn of it, enough when you play against a Bystander Hwayang?
I mean, you got to remember that Vigor is basically like mitigation, right? Vigor gives you 30% attack, and people think it's an aggressive buff, but it also gives 30% defense, right? Which also makes it a lot harder for Hwayang to kind of kill through those light units. Things like Illinois, things like Bellion, and things like that. But Lunar recognizing immediately, right? Carnik is kind of picking a little bit too greedy, right? Design a little bit, penetrates defense. Laya penetrates defense, immediately goes for Empyrean Illinap, which is going to gutter 2 of those units, and that's already potentially a force ban for Carnik, right? So now Lunar also has that shoe to play the tempo here to cut down that Laya if he does ban that Illinap. And Carnik says, you know what? You're low on cleansers. I don't care if you take the first turn. I'm going to run DDR so I can strip everything off and play the next rotation.
Yeah, it almost felt like he first picked a Ran to kind of fake a cleave and then immediately just went into a high-tempo draft here. And I'll say this, and say it with me, boys. The meme being machine green Celine is looking really good for Lunar on pick 5 here.
And Carnik also locks in that Janua, so that's for sure going to tell Lunar he's post banning that Illinab 100%. Now, there's another unit that you could pick in DN, but DN wouldn't really be in that great of a spot here because he does have that DDR there. But if he does go for that DN, he could position to ban that DDR, and that's also going to gutter those 3 units on Carnik King's draft. So will Lunar decide to go for that?
The option's on the board, but he doesn't have too long to pick it. And as we said before, it is the, say it with me now, the mean bean machine, green Celine
machine thing.
Yes.
My fault. My fault.
This is a great pickup, though. This is a great pickup by Lunar because he recognizes that he has no mitigation, right? Conquer Lilius, S3, non-attack. Laya, S2, non-attack. DDR, S3, S2, non-attack. Janua, S2, non-attack, right? So he's banning out the Janua and saying, you know what? I dare you to press some buttons. And if you guys don't know, those who are watching and you're unfamiliar with Lunar Chewy, Mossman has one of the best green Celines in the entire ladder. One of the best. So if he presses a button, that S2 S3 is going to do a shit ton of damage, and that's what we're going to see here. Hopefully, we see a Celine get killed.
All right. Show me what you can do.
Rand goes first, and hey, even if you're not setting up for a full cleave team, guess what? Rand 2 puts up a 2-turn immunity buff. That is just so good versus Conqueror Lilius. You dodge the attack down, and you dodge the redirected provoke coming out from her opening rotation. And versus a Conqueror, or versus Designer Lilibet, I should say, rather. Here, I mean, you just hit him with a cheeky S1, right? Just skip the turn. Get her out of here.
Now, Conquer Lilius is going to take that second turn here and get that S3, S2 up. But if he does press the S3, guess what? Celine is waiting on the other end, waiting to get a kill. So he's going to have to think twice. Does he press this S3 or not? Holds it, goes for the S1 onto the shoe here, and we don't see Proof of Valor come out, which means it's most likely going to be on something like a Sweet Miracle maybe. And the shoe is at 25k HP, so it's going to do a ton of damage. Because if it's something that we've seen, say, from like Isuko, where it's at 30k HP, that's an HP neck. If it's something like 25k, that's mostly going to be on a crit damage neck, which is going to do a shit ton of damage. And immediately you see 7.5k, 9.5k going onto Laya. She's already chunked down. That Laya win con is already looking really bad for Carnik King here.
Oh, you'll make an excellent specimen.
Once again, you really want to be able to use all of your buttons here. And now Green Celine finally gets to come out and play, and this is why she's the meme beam machine. Look at this damage. Oh boy.
Lock on the Secret Art Storm Sword, and we see how necessary it is to get that amount of damage out, especially in that quick of a... Oh boy.
He's going to be able to take a unit out here with the Soul Burn S3 for sure. That missed sleep on Carnik King might be the reason he loses this game, and he loses all of the tempo. And that's
he accepts it immediately. He just knows. He's like, well,
there it goes.
That was the whole kit and caboodle. That was the whole kit and goddamn caboodle.
He really needed that sleep. Hold down the Green Celine. Let Designer Lilibet take over. That's the only way he could have flipped that game. And the moment the 25% happens, well, you know, it's another day, another game.
I mean, that's just really unfortunate. I mean, Carnik King, it just sucks. I mean, if you miss a DDRS1, I mean, it is what it is. But at the same time, I mean, that draft, it might have been a little bit too greedy, right? Like, when you don't have mitigation, and you pick 3 units that have non-attack skills. I mean, Celine is just insane value. So, GG's, and congrats to Lunar moving on to the next stage.
You know, people asking for stats on that Green Celine. You can find stats for it on my YouTube channel. In fact, for the entire account, actually, I would say Lunar is technically playing at a pretty big disadvantage here, but he will be moving himself into the finals, where the big money is. So yeah, I mean, I would say if you're planning on playing up against him, you should check out youtube.com/Valky, and you'll find his entire account tuning, his logic, how he plays, all of that is readily available right there.
You should also check out Opera GX, as sponsored by Vic. Give it a shot if you want to head on over and support the man. He obviously does have a family, and you know he does have needs. He needs to get some new blinds. We are considerably going into the light of God. From that background there, might help out a little bit if we could purchase some curtains so that we can not get flashbang consistently. But you can see we're stacking up the pre-bans just like Vic is stacking up those pillows behind him, getting nice and comfy as we set up to finish off the semifinals, then get into the grand finals of this whole damn thing.
Ooh, and it does look like the players are ready. Harrison, I mean, Wow, okay. Like, I think Vic precipitated this earlier. It's going to be a lot of egoing, a lot of races, and I think these matches are going to be, wow. Oh, wow, Vic is really moving around the scene a little bit. Look at that.
Yes, he is.
It's too bright. God is smiting me with the sunlight. I can't see.
I could tell. I was just like, oh
Yeah.
my god.
All
You
right,
need
well,
some-
with that, let's get the players into the match. Let's see how these players race each other. I mean, I'm just excited for how fast these matches are going to be. I mean, yesterday, every single match came down to the wire. There were so many game threes. And today, I felt like most of it has been extremely one-sided. It just felt like the drafts, the dominant players are just dominating. The good drafts are overwhelming.
All right,
Ooh.
and we do see Harrison sticking to the Young Senya ban, but it actually goes with the Sea Phantom Politics ban instead. Maybe he's been watching these matches from Jello, recognizing that Jello might have a really, really fast set or his potentially top speed set on Sea Phantom Politics. And Jello does go for the Harsetti Luna pre-ban, some pretty standard pre-bans for a very fast player like himself. And immediately, Harrison takes that Zeo, and Jello responds with the Empyrean Illinev and the Lone Wolf Hera. Now remember, Zeo S3 does penetrate defense, so having Empyrean Illinev on your side is going to negate a lot of that damage by up to 50%, which is a huge number. And so we'll see how Harrison actually responds. I mean, I don't expect him to pivot at all. And immediately we do see that Elago slam on 2 and the ML Huayang on 3 to address the ML Illinev pick for Harrison's side. Now, Jello is absolutely going to have to be careful here. He has to pick some good 3-4 picks because very likely Harrison is going to ban that last pick here. Now, Jello does go for the BBK. Now, in this position, I mean, it most likely is going to have to be some kind of ER BBK, right? Because if it's not, it's very possible that it's going to get reset as we saw in previous matches.
Now, I just want to highlight the fact that this is not only you see Harrison putting together a cleave draft, but also every single unit he picks is like a direct counter to Jello's. Zeo counters Jello's entire account out of virtue of being fast. Elagos does counter the Peyra, and the Bystander Huayang is a strong counter to Empyrean Illinev. And now, with the Blooming Lidica picked up, if she managed to stick the unbuffable, that's going to be quite strong versus most of Jello's composition as well.
Let me just say something here. Harrison's Blittica is not your traditional Blittica. That thing has 200 effectiveness, okay? So if you do have an ERBBK, that thing will land on you, absolutely. And Jello does go for the Emolua, which is going to potentially indicate that this will be a Blittica ban, because Blittica's new exclusive equipment does actually land restrict onto the Illinavs, onto the Emoluas, which is going to be a really big cleave tool. And Jello actually bans the Elagos out, and Harrison goes for the Lone Wolf Hera post-ban. So Harrison's going to almost get everything. He has the Firefly, and he has the Blittica, and these Blittica and Afternoon Soak Clan kind of almost has like a little bit of a counter synergy, if you will. That S1, if it doesn't stun, you can't proc right away. If you S3, you can't proc Firefly. So let's see how Harrison plays his first turn.
Your Emperor?
Zeo, I mean, unsurprisingly takes the first turn, but looking at 3 immunity for the side of Jello, that's probably something you really want when you know your opponent is going fast, they're going aggressive. The one thing that did surprise me about this draft, though, is Jello let the Afternoon Soak Flan slip to 5th pick, so Harrison still has that extremely strong tool going for him. Zeo S3 goes out. Oh, lands it. That's the counterattack. It's not what we expected when it came to Blood Moon Haste.
Oh, he misses the restrict on the Illinev. That's so bad. He landed the restrict onto the Emolua, but not on the Illinev. So the Illinev is going to be able to cleanse off the unbuffable, which is going to neuter the Lidica damage on her S2. And not only that, it's going to give Indomitable, which is going to make Jello way harder to kill. And we do know that that is an ER BBK, so now she even has more effect resistance. So this is a really tough spot for
He soul burns the
Harrison to play,
Lua, but
because now-
misses the stun. That's not something you want to see. He's already down a little bit. Lua now firing up her TikTok stream. Lands 3 provokes. That is all 3 you could possibly land in this spot.
Now that S1 is uncounterable, but that Emolua is actually going to stay in the game. And that Blood Moon Haste is still restricted, so it's not going to get that turn. That Emma Huayang does get that counter off, does get the 20% CR, but that BBK is almost 1 HP, and this is going to be maximum damage. It will kill Huayang, surely, right?
This is going to be a lot of damage. I mean,
We'll see here in a second. The sword
And
goes
it
through.
Kills.
Two.
Looks like a GG.
Kills 2,
Wow.
and it puts out the position immediately. Jello takes the first match in a way that I gotta say is not too surprising. I really did think he had it in him the whole way through, but I am surprised to see that it dragged out so quickly. Or a lot of the previous matches we saw earlier. And to see these two titans of speed really come at each other, they definitely are familiar with each other. It's like watching two lions stalking each other in the Sahara, each waiting for the first to make that final and fatal mistake.
But you know what's the thing about Jello's power here, right? Jello has the speed gear to race, but you know what else, right? That's not just about his gear. He has the knowledge, right? As a cleaver himself, as someone that plays extremely aggressive, he knows what to post ban that can really lower the chances of someone like Harrison that's just going full speed, full cleave all the way. And that game, unfortunately, if that Blooming Litica did land restrict on that Illanav, that game might have looked a lot different.
And I just want to point out the fact that he won that game out of the second pick position, which is huge because when you start trading wins in a tight series like this, winning out of the second pick position means you are guaranteed, well, provided you don't drop the balls, you don't fumble the bag somewhere along the way, you will be first pick for that game 5, and that is absolutely a position you want to seize control of. And now both players are ready. Let's get into Game 2 of the semifinals of Vic's Archaeology RTA Tour. This has been a ride so far.
Man, what a tournament so far, guys. What a tournament. And I hope everyone at home is also enjoying.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, we probably went a year without playing the OG format, right? We had third pick ban protection in the game for a year, and finally seeing third pick ban protection gone, it really makes me lament all the times that we lost playing third pick ban protect, because sure, it might be easier if you're newer to the game, if you do not have as many units, it does enable certain playstyles, but man, having 5 units you can ban, you know, you don't just get to guarantee lock in a crutch unit, really raises the skill cap of what people can draft with. First pick, Lone Wolf Payra comes in, immediately respond to by the double fire archers. You got Afternoon Soap Flan, and you got Veronica. But Harrison not seizing up control. Zeo Solitaria immediately locks himself into that safe, I'm going first position.
I'm going first, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Sorry. I'm also a little bit miffed by the double fire ranger opening. I don't think I've seen that one before, followed by more rangers. Of course, ExJello, of course, loving rangers for their utility, for their damage, and pretty much they're like the knights of this game a lot of times, where they just do whatever they need to get things done. Just like my man Ran, putting up that those buffs, putting out possibly the attack buff as well, and the defense breaks, might be able to cleave and see through. So the Vildred might complete the draft here. Interesting choice, especially to get that speed imprint as well.
So Harrison's draft right now, he has basically 3 openers and 0 bridges. ML Payra is considered a bridge technically, but
What are you doing?
ExJello does have a really good last pick in Miki here, which can basically just 1v9 Harrison's team on the left here. So this is going to be a really tough one because it's really hard for ExJello to get a really accurate postbound on which one is going to be the best, right? Payra is going to push the entire team. Ran can basically just wipe your entire team and put up the 2-turn immunity, and we see the trade-off right there, right? The Ram would, the 2-turn immunity would counter that fast Helion Lua, and Helion Lua gets banned out so that he doesn't get the combat readiness. Into the match that we go, Harrison is going to get the first turn with the Zeo here. However, it does look like ExJello's actually cutting in front of the Lone Wolf Payra with the Veronica. Now, Solitary is on field though, so that means Firefly is not going to be able to dual attack, but that combat readiness might be very big here.
You'd better stand down.
So Harrison actually opts to go for the silence onto the Requiem Veronica, denying that S3 because he did recognize that Veronica is actually going before his Lone Wolf Payra. So he does go for that Soulburn S3 to knock out that Sid, to deny that extra kill S3 into S1. And now the Soulburn guarantees so that there's no RNG loss here with the bomb not sticking. S1 gets that kill off there, and the Requiem Veronica is going to be able to get an S1 off here while being silenced. And Lone Wolf Payra is going to be going right after. No defense break sticking onto the Zeo here. Lone Wolf Payra is going to give 20 combat readiness to the entire team here, and that Solitary is coming right around the corner. But guess what? ExJello still has a Miki on his side, so this game is still anyone's game, I guess I would say, but it's heavily favored for ExJello, I think.
Soulburn there getting a little bit of the damage through. Defense break does end up landing on 2 units, but I would say at this point, if you're ExJello, You don't really care. You're done. You killed the green unit, now you just let Amiki do her thing. The fact that Red Flan even gets a turn here is just a nice little bonus. Bit of the damage comes through on the Zio.
It hits clean as well.
The Solitaire did tag the Amiki here, and it landed double stun on Veronica and Requiem Roana, which is huge because that Requiem Roana is not going to be able to get that S3 off anymore, right? So this S3 is going to grant Harrison an extra turn on that Solitaire here. Goes for the stun and pushback onto the Amiki here. Is he going to try to proc that Amiki on this turn with the Zio here while having that combat readiness pushback while everything is slowed down? No, he actually chooses to go for the plan and kill it off here. He might get a 3-for-1 kill with the splash. Not quite here. So he is going to stun that Amiki though, and Zio will get an S1. What will he do? Who will he target?
There's a chance to clean up here, and he does take it. Swiping out one, going for the Amiki. Not quite proccing, but getting close enough. Now the options are on board. Won't see a turn out of Requiem Roana anytime soon, but no reason to leave slim pickings on the table. Need to finish your plate after all before getting into the main course, and here it is. Zio putting her down to 1.
This is going to be huge because Amiki, the extra splash damage has to hit. He does have Rampage on his Zio here, so if this misses, it won't do that splash damage, which is going to give him better odds of winning. Goes for the Para, misses. Splash damage is not going to land. He's going to have to go for the S1 here. And we did see that Solitary was able to tag his Amiki. Is this going to be another miss onto Zio? Now Lone Wolf here is going to get that S1, and Solitary is going to move. It does counter the double.
Oh, she's awake. Good lord, she's actually here today.
Get landed by the Solitaria.
Here's the problem though, Solitaire we know is high effectiveness.
It stripped the attack buff though, that's really bad. Will he land another debuff here onto the Amiki to seal the game?
Attack down, that's critical! Doesn't strip the immortality!
No counter!
Oh, but a stun will do it!
Oh.
A stun will do it.
And Harrison taking back the game. What a comeback. Bringing the series back to a 1-1. And this is basically what we expected. I mean, both players are going to be coming in hot. And hot they are. And not just in game.
They're trading out that first pick too, and like we said, as long as nobody fumbles the bag, nobody really severely drops a match when their first pick. If this cycles back to a game 5, Jello will be in the driver's seat with this ability to lock in that first unit he wants. All right, well, with that, both players are ready. Jello opted for the first pick, like we all expected. So let's see what he decides to do as his pre-ban and his first pick combination going into the semifinals of your Archaeology RTA Tour. This has certainly been a ride.
Yeah, some people have been saying, I saw someone in chat say, oh, Blue Lua pre-ban. So Harrison's been paying close attention to Jello's matches, clearly, right? That Sea Phantom Politics pre-ban is not by accident. That Blue Lua pre-ban is not by accident. He recognizes that Jello has some good speed gear on those units which can contest his playstyle. Right, so Jello is going to go for that Ram ban, and Harrison bans out that Lone Wolf Hero here, and Jello does take that Fire Flan without missing a beat. Harrison immediately locks in that Zio, guaranteeing that first turn, not wanting to deal with any contest for his openers, and locks in the ML Huayang as well to ensure that he has an anchor for his draft. Now, how is Jello going to respond here? He does opt to go for a Blood Moon Haste anchor with a ML Lua coming out on the third pick there, but it is not ban protected. We do see the Solitaire response come back from Harrison, having confidence in his last pick to be a force ban, trying to eliminate the factor of dealing with an S1 dual attack win con for Jello from that afternoon soak clan, and he does lock in that Bryceria. Now, guess what? Young Senya is banned. The AoE Cleave Queen herself, Bryceria, is an absolute terror, and also is going to restrict Jello from reviving any units if he does kill. So he has 2 extinctions right now in Bystander Huayang and Briar Witch Iseria. How is Jello going to flex his 4-5 picks here to give himself a winning position?
Yeah, I really like that Briar Witch Iseria because as you said, not only is it good versus the Blood Moon Haze, you deny the revives, but the defense break is just going to be able to enable him to do so much damage, and with the extra hit chance, you might even, he has Solitaria, which means he has a really good chance to defense break and just completely disable the red flan with that Briar Witch, so extremely strong combo of not only openers, but debuffers as well. Veronica being picked up for Jello. Now he really wants to tempo up here Get that defense break, get the bomb damage down, and of course, lock in the BBK.
I love that. I love that from Jello because we already saw that his Veronica is insanely fast. I mean, it outsped Harrison's Lone Wolf Payra. And those units at Harrison's speed, like that's probably at least like 300 to 310, right? And so having that really fast opener with the Emma Lua, it definitely causes a lot of trouble for Harrison. And he actually goes for the Blitica here. And like I said earlier, that is a 200 effectiveness Blitica. And Harrison actually recognizes that Helion Lua is one of the fastest characters on Jello's account potentially. He bans that out. And then Jello actually goes for the Solitaria post ban, which means that's going to actually activate Fireflan to have the 100% evasion, where Briar might not be able to stick that defense break now. So we'll see how this goes. This is all going to come down to whether or not Blitica is going to land. And we do know that Jello is on... He actually picked a different BBK. That's not his ER BBK this time. So we'll see if this lands. He is on Shepard. You never know what can happen with BBK on Shepard.
Miracle. That's what might just happen here for a second. But don't be hoping for those because you're gonna need something more concrete. Now Zio comes down with the silence. Follow-up comes through for the Blooming Linica. Already getting some of those stacks away.
He doesn't land! The pushback on Veronica! He doesn't land. He doesn't land. That means he's going to be able to get an S3 defense break, and an S1's going to drag the flan, and he's going to be able to kill out that Blitica. Now he's going to have a lot more of a harder time to kill off that Blood Moon Haze.
Defense
However,
break
this
landed.
will proc
That's
Divine
huge.
Vessel on Emma Hwayang here. Who is this going to go on to?
Is it the kid? I feel like it might be the kid. It is! It is Blood Moon Haze.
I mean, Haze is really doing his job here. It's not like he can just catch the shield anymore. Unbuffable going to do so much, but at the very least, he can still absorb the damage after New Soflan goes, lands the damage, puts the Briarwitch Isaria into the Immortality. Briarwitch now, you need a soul burn this, get the defense breaks in, get the debuffs in. She's not long for this war, and you need your units to be able to close out this match for you.
This is such a heads-up play from Jello. He procs that Immortality on the Bryceria so that Veronica gets that 100% CR after Bryceria finishes her turn. Oh my god. Oh my god, that was
so close.
The counter!
It counters!
She just got herself killed. Grudge can't activate. The buff block is over.
Jello is fuming. How did that not kill the Hwayang?
He was in such a good spot, and then the counter killed a no-focus Red Flan. Oh.
S3 gets dumped onto the Blood Moon Haze. Extension goes through. Now, BBK does still have Shepard. He might be able to miss.
Okay,
one miss! Will he miss again?
Two
he does
misses?
the second one.
Cursor, no, but the Briarwitch can close it out.
The Briarwitch does, yeah.
Oh, man. What a close game. Jello was so close on winning both from those two opportunities. If he killed that Hwayang, if he got the double miss from the Shepherd, I mean, this game would have looked a lot different. What a game 3.
The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away, right? You could say that position, even resisting initially, was only a chance. Jeez.
Oh man, and with that, I think Harrison completely flipped the first pick advantage. Jello now down 2-1. He still has the first pick, but if this ever goes to a game 5 again, you know, the one where it counts, I mean, he's going to need to play from a turn 2 position. Like, that was a huge loss for him. Oh, Harrison really just took that match by storm. And, you know, with that, both players readied up again. Let's go into game 4. Oh my goodness. What's happening? What's happening, brother?
What's happening, brother?
Oh my god.
I mean, this is such these are such close games. I can't believe it. I mean, Jello is back against the wall. Back against the wall. I mean, he's got to dig deep. He does have that first pick, and he has to get this one. He does go for the Zio pre-ban. He wants to take that Zio away from Harrison, right? One of the strongest units for a cleaver like Harrison. And the deeper that we get into this draft, right, with these stacking pre-bans, if Jello gets to this game 5 with this game 4 win potentially, I mean, that's another pre-ban, which is going to make Harrison's life even harder. Without skipping a beat, Harrison immediately lost
takes the Veronica
in response to the Fire Flan. And Jello's like probably thinking, what can we pick? I mean, this Briar Cleave is extremely strong. We know that Renewed Will from Fenris's artifact is just so crazy on ladder. And Jello goes for the Wanderer's Silk Payra, not backing down.
There it is. I mean, we're really limited on our option of openers. I mean, if you just look at the list of pre-bans, they're pretty much all cleave openers. We got Payra left on the books, and we have Briarwitch Isaria left on the books. Jello surely took note of the speed tune, and he just says, I'm faster. Let's race.
Yeah, and I mean, like, we all know Jello is really fast. I mean, Jello is 5 out of 5, gentlemen.
And
He
my opponent.
is one of the fastest players, if not in the world. And so Harrison actually
Who's
goes for a
next?
green sit on 3 with BBK. Now, in this kind of position, if you are Harrison or if you're Jello, you don't know if that
Where should I
BBK is
start?
going to be on a ER build or on a damage build. And Jello actually locks in Celeste. Some people might be thinking, why are we going with Celeste? Well, let me tell you, because Renewed Will is going to enable Celeste kit, and she actually has one of the highest base speed. She has the same base speed as Payra. So that's also providing an imprint, but also if he bans Payra, he still has that Celeste with a 14 imprint here. So Jello's just throwing all his cards on the table, saying, you know what? Let's engage in this speed race.
Start.
Let's go.
Man
And
said
without
all
skipping a beat-
in, and the river is here. Let's see.
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, this is what's gonna happen, right? You ban a 14 from each other, and you just see if you go first, right? That's all it comes. Whoa!
Nobody wants to ban the speed imprint. They wanna
Nobody
go
wants
at
to
this
ban the
all
14. They said,
natural.
I don't believe in your secondary openers. Wow! That's what they're going for.
Now, this is a huge heads-up play from Jello, right? This is where that experience really comes through, right? He recognizes that he picked 3 imprints with an opener in Bryceria, and he says, you know what? I am confident in my Celeste speed with a 14 imprint to outspeed your entire team, and I have that Flan S1. And the Celeste!
Celeste goes! The Celeste goes!
has
She goes
every
first!
If there was
President
anyone I
S3?
would believe in, if there was anyone I believed in to randomly just be able to go in that position, it was Celeste.
Celeste goes for that S2, procs that Renewed Will,
It was
and the
his
Requiem Mirana
Celeste.
is going to closely follow up behind. The Requiem Mirana is going to rip that S3, and we don't see a BBK on effect resist on Harrison's side. This S3 is for sure going to strip off the Immortality off the BBK. Resist comes through, but the Immortality does not get stripped off, which means that there is still a second one potential.
Soulburn Soak!
Now
That
he
is a
goes for
huge
the
move.
Soulburn
BBK is disabled.
Put it down.
GG.
Just end it. Just end it real quick. Jello, really with the heads-up play. Celeste, his favorite hunter, equipping the bow, saying, I need to get back to Monhunt as soon as possible, and ending that quest in record speed. I mean, he's already carving out gemstones and bones out of his enemy as he speaks, but the hunt isn't over yet. The most difficult hunt. He's going for a G rank over here, finishing off the members of Fleet once and for all. Can Harrison pull back in?
Alright guys, what do you think are the odds? Jello bans Briarwitch and Harrison bans Payra here as their last pre-ban. I'm smelling that coming. They banned it as their post-ban, and this time, first pick goes for Red Flan, and they just split imprints the entire way through. I'm already smelling that in the air. Blood's in the water. I'm ready to see it. What's your predictions, Vic?
I mean, this is anybody's game. I mean, if I had to just statistically, I would probably have to say Harrison has the upper hand as first pick. But in game number 1 of this set, we did see Jello win game 1 as second pick. So anything is possible. But one thing I do want to highlight for the chat is that that's where that experience comes through, right? I mean, Jello recognizing that Bryceria has all of the speed gear and says, you know what? I don't believe that your Sid with double imprint can outspeed my Celeste, which has some of my top speed gear, I reckon, and I have a 14 lead. And not only that, he also had the Firefly win con as well, right? So, I mean, this truly is anybody's game. But I'm not a betting man, but if I had to bet, I will say Harrison probably has a 51 to 49 given the first pick.
51-49, you heard it here first. Let's see if he can, if he's got what it takes to close it out. And let's see if these guys are just sniping out each other's openers left and right. And this just turns into an imprint war.
All right. Your prediction, we'll see it here in a couple seconds.
Whoa, Requiem
Wow.
Rowana being taken out for Harrison. That's actually not something I expected, but first pick Red Flan, that comes through. Steadiest anchor in the game. As of right now, Veronica gets picked up for Jello, and what
I'm about
is
to say, he went straight. The second I saw a dark thief on board, I was like, he went straight for his Veronica BBK safety. He went right there. You think there's a chance you think there's a chance Jello flips the whatchamacallit, the Solitario on him?
Oh, ooh, that's a really interesting prospect. I think it really depends on what Harrison does here. If he imprints up, I mean, you just got to get in the car, right? If a cleaver's getting in the car, you can't say I'm the fastest man on earth and not get in the car. But that is entirely a possibility. I mean, if Harrison wants to slow down here, maybe really run that long-term value on the Red Flan, I'm definitely not counting out the possibility that gets
For the
flipped.
future of the
Closer
race.
Charles comes out, and I think Harrison
Joe
actually.
Biden on 2. We got Joe
Joe
Biden
Biden
on
on 2.
2. GG.
Hard as
Okay, so Harrison
down
locks in
there.
the Illinav on 3, and Jello actually immediately slams that Payra on 3 with the Blooming Litica, not caring about Illinav's passive, most likely hinting at a restrict exclusive equipment for the Blooming Litica. And now Jello's draft is really strong here because he has the BBK damage, he has the Blooming Litica damage, he can pick another opener that can
The
kind of choke
stars
out
light our
Harrison.
way.
And Harrison recognizes that, you know what, you have 2 AoE units in Payra and Blooming Litica. Elena is going to be a really strong counter pick into him.
3 even.
And it might even be a force ban.
Yeah.
Now, if you're Harrison, I mean, this is game 5. Money's on the line. You just got outsped as a cleaver, as one of the fastest players on the ladder. You got to be a little bit shaken up, right? This closer Charles pick, I mean, we have seen a really fast closer Charles make a showing before, right? Phantom in the World Cup in 2022. We have seen that closer Charles, that Joe Biden come out and outspeeding some insane units when you get deeper into a BO5.
You
And
interrupt
Harrison
my
actually
work.
locks in the Dilbet on 5, saying, you know what, you're overwhelming with debuffs. I'm going to pick an Elena that's an AoE cleanser. I'm going to pick a Dilbet, which is going to cleanse all of those debuffs as well. So what is Jello going to pick on 5? He needs to get something good as a force ban here, and we'll see how he plays this out.
Is it just me? I actually really like the position Harrison's in right now. Like, I mean, Jello's my boy, but I think Harrison's in an extremely dominant position with 2 anti-debuffers on 4-5, and on 3 you got the Imperial Illinav who's able to hold back almost
what you
the
got.
entirety of Blooming Litica's damage, so I'm not feeling too good if I'm Jello right now. Silverblade Araminta does come out. That is a really strong pick, and I think that is telegraphing a designer Lilibet post-ban, so if Harrison figures out the right picks, I mean, while Jello is going first turn, I think I'm rather favored towards Harrison in this draft.
But you know what's the thing, though? In this draft, right, the Payra is going to be able to potentially land a restrict on the Elena. And if it is on Doctor's Bag, that means it's not going to cut. And if it doesn't cut, and you're basically able to push back with a high effectiveness Blooming Litica as well, that can set up the Veronica into a BBK sweep. I mean, I think Jello's position is very good, but he has to land
You
everything
dare
here for this
stop
game
me?
5.
Yeah, no BBK here, so
Time
this is really a quality check on Jello's gear. You're going fast, but
Oh,
the
you
Elena...
just get hit. The Charles gets hit immediately.
You're right.
What's the evasion buffer?
Ooh. This is going to be a really difficult position to navigate as Jello. I mean, you can hit everything else, especially with that Silverblade Araminta, but Elena is waiting in the wings with all of her cleanse and the immunity still sitting up pretty atop her head. How do you see this breaking out further down the line, Vic?
Oh, he's on Warhorde Elena, and he cuts in front of the entire team and not landing the stun on the Illinav either. This is just an absolute disastrous position for Jello to be in.
Stardust.
Oh, man, and the cleanse is going to come through.
I will not give in to despair.
Oh no, I mean, Jello just is not looking good. I mean, this Illinav is going to just go for an S1, take out that Veronica immediately, proccing the perception on the closer Charles. Blooming Litica is going to be able to get a turn here and put up skill nullifier for his team. Is this going to tag onto the closer Charles here? It misses, but it does do quite a bit of damage. Now, there is skill nullifier on Jello's side here. Now, technically, this game is not over, gentlemen. I mean, if Silverblade Araminta is able to land enough burns, I mean, never say never.
Hear my voice.
Well, it's time for Joe Biden to leave office as he's just had to exit the stage right then and there. But the Empyrean Ilnav is here with more of those deadly sniper focus attacks being benefited from the flan. Payra's up to board again. She's going to have to look for the stun. She does get it. It's another proc of Warhorn as Elena can easily clean that up. And another snipe. The stuns get returned. It looks terrible for Jello as Afternoon Soak Clan comes in with the Soul Burn, looking ready to finish it all. And it does, and double dusts both of them down for good.
That
Harrison
Warhorn
takes it
Elena
over
is just
Jello.
so deadly, taking over that match, stopping Jello completely in his tracks. The Elena as well as the Imperial Illinav, that combination just taking Jello out of it. Harrison will be moving himself over to the grand finals of Vic's RTA Grand Tour. Man, we gotta see some vintage drafts, we gotta see some new drafts, but oh my goodness, these games are tight and they're really coming down to it, aren't they?
No, absolutely, you're right. And I mean, gotta respect Jello. I mean, he said he stayed true to his colors. That game 5, back against the wall, he's slamming that pair, he's playing that cleave, he's playing that opening, and unfortunately, like the things just didn't land. Right, landing on an Elena is really hard, but also trying to land debuffs on Ilanav sometimes it might not always work out. And the one thing though for Harrison, I mean, great, well played by him. I mean, people think he's a one-dimensional cleaver, but one of the great things about Harrison and why he is so good is because he has that speed gear, he has a tempo, he can overwhelm you with just damage up front, but he's also really good at playing flexible, right? People don't give him enough credit for it. You know, if he is forced to take the back step, he does have the game knowledge, he has the experience, having multiple legend frames and having that arena 1 push. I mean, he just played extremely well, and that game 5 really has a good showcase of him being flexible.
Oh man, and you know, as we do finish that match, we will be moving in towards the grand finals, and performing a quick bracket check here. This will be our final bracket check of the day. We are playing for a prize pool of $1,100, so don't feel too bad for Carnik or Jello. Those guys have definitely earned their money for the weekend, and we will be seeing Lunar fight Harrison for who gets the big payout at the end of the day. And, you know, going over our splits, the winner will be receiving half of the prize pool at $550. Runner-up will be getting a 25% at $275, and third and fourth place will be splitting that prize pool. Shout-outs to all of these guys for contributing: Lord Cactus / Vic, Kamar, Migzilla, Robo Penguin, the big money, $650 to the prize pool, and X-Defy. This show wouldn't have been possible without you guys. You guys are amazing. Keep being you. And as we give these guys...
Valky. Hey, Valky also contributed. He didn't say himself, so Valky as well, guys.
I appreciate it, homie. And while you know, these guys get ready, we'll give them a chance to take a quick break. So I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick, and we're gonna run a 60-second ad. That way, we make sure once we hit the grand finals, guys, nobody will have an interrupted viewing experience. So I'm gonna go take a break real quick and be right back.
Yeah, fuck you guys. I'm gonna give you guys an ad too. I wasn't going to, but Valky reminded me. So Rack, Alpha Omega Giga Turbo G. But hey, what's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Any feedback regarding the stream? My Twitch is not loading. GG. Any feedback, guys? Anything you guys want us to change or anything? I don't get ads. Rack you. Take your shirt off. Man, these are some close-ass games, dude. I want D-Gen Cleve Chun to commentate. No, man. We're leaving the D-Gen Vic Chun, like, out back, dude. Like, he's busy getting back shots. I can't let that guy out, dude, in the wild. Can't let him out in the wild. Best of 7, bruh. It's not best of 7. Best of 7 would be fucking wild.
Yeah. Also, thank you, Robo, for the 28-month, man. Welcome back. I appreciate you. Ahoy. Oh, this has been such a tight show. Also, I think yeah, you're getting some food in. Divine's breaking his fast. Oh.
How do you hide taskbar? I'm a boomer.
Right click on it, taskbar settings, and then there should be something called taskbar behaviors if you're on Windows 11. And then the first option that you can tick, the first checkbox, should be automatically hide the taskbar.
Oh. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, give these guys a chance to take a bath. I think the moment Divine comes back, I think we're ready to go. Is there a poll for who's gonna win? Fuck it. Yeah, we'll do a Gamba, guys. You guys want to do a Gamba? I wasn't gonna do a Gamba because you know, the entire time we're trying to keep the show going, and I just didn't have it in my attention span. But if we're gonna do that, let's do it. Let's do a Gamba. I'll put it up for like 2 to 3 minutes. We're getting Lunar versus Harrison. I'll put in
You wanna-
1108.
You want to bet any subs between you and I?
Between you and nah, bro, this is too much of a toss-up. I can't. Like, I can't, man. I think Harrison pulled a surprise upset versus Jello. Like, I thought Jello was gonna take it all the way again. Jello's usually going hard. And then Harrison pulled it back out, so I'm like, oh, maybe Harrison's got it. But we saw Mossman with Mossman RNG. Mossman RNG is real. Mossman, oh, by the way, guys, 2 minutes for the Gamba. So if you want to predict who wins and gamble some channel points, I'm probably going to be getting a thing where you can use channel points to win some Skystones soon. More on that probably after we finish the tournament.
What do you mean green flag?
So, yeah, if you want to gamble any amount of points, you know, do you believe in Mossman RNG or do you believe in the Harrison Cleave?
Oh,
Yeah.
you want to do Oh, sure. Yeah, run. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Mars. Just
Yeah,
run it
I
for
would do it, but I think my mods are just chilling today. My mods are either playing in the tournament or they're casting with me today. So, yeah. I'm playing League. My man really said I'm quitting Epic 7 and then I'm gonna go play League.
League of Legends.
07. Yeah, about 30 seconds left on that prediction, guys. It seems like right now, it's slightly favored towards Harrison. I don't know, guys. Just Mossman RNG is pretty unreal. I don't know if I would shun the Mossman RNG. Wow, we really got 200k on each side for you guys, huh? Yeah, I mean, if I don't even know how to gamble with this. Like, if I had to put money on stuff, I put money on Jello, and then Jello dies. So I don't know. Maybe Harrison. He slayed my boy, so maybe he's got to carry on the spirit. Yeah, really hard to say.
Or is it Valk?
You know, just making sure both guys are good to go, you know. I will say, though, Jello might not have won the tournament, but hey, at least he gets to go back to Monster Hunter, and he's flying high right now. Yeah, he really went back to hunting monster. I'm joining him soon. Whenever we finish here, I'm going back to Monster Hunter too. Bird up. I'll hit you up after this, homie. I'll hit you up after this. Also, FBI, thank you for the 5 gifted. I appreciate it, man.
I have every hopeful bone in my body that I will be able to begin Monster Hunter after we wrap this up and a couple other things. Finally.
Bro, if you want to start, man, pull up. I'll try to help you through the game, whatever it is that you need. We're going to have a good time.
It ain't my first time at low ranks, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, it seems like both players are ready to fly, though. Any predictions on your end, Divine? Any words to add, Vic? I'll toss it to you guys. Whenever you guys are good.
This goes all the way.
You think it goes all the way?
All the way.
I think it goes all the way.
Wait, Divine. You want to do bets between you and I?
Yeah, always, yeah.
All right,
Gamba's in my
alright,
Gamba's in my
all right,
thing.
you make it. You make it. How much? And what is it?
What do you mean by how much are we betting? Are you actually putting down?
Yeah, let's bet money. Who wins?
Loser donates to charity? Are we doing the usual?
Oh hell no! That should go into me, son.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I could put a good 30 on Lunar.
30 on Lunar.
Yeah.
You believe in your boy Harrison?
I got a triple-ater this month. That's all. I'm trying to stay a little bit. I got to fly out to San Francisco for GDC.
What is that? Like girls
Game Developer Conference.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, one of my mentors has a talk at Game DEF CON, and I helped him put it together. So I want to see that, and I also got to go see some of my good friends I haven't seen in a while.
I see. All right. Yeah, all right. Sounds good. 30. I got 30 on Harrison. You got 30 on Mossman.
Yep.
All right, bet.
You believe in the speed, and I believe in the guy who's going to hopefully not get run over by it.
Wow, thankfully we we're breaking the fast. Otherwise, is gambling a sin? Gambling's a sin, right? You had to give up gambling during the day. You're only allowed to gamble at night.
All right, I'm just gonna say this once. All right, I'm just saying it once.
Yeah.
Harrison, you better win. You better win, Harrison. If you win, I cannot say what I was gonna say, but you better win.
Now, who do I think it's really tough for me to say. I think personally though, I want to say Lunar is slightly better at pivoting from what I've seen, but Harrison outplayed ExJello, and ExJello is a Banshee gamer, like by trade. So the fact that he can outplay ExJello, I think really proves the quality of the pivots he's making. But coming into the game though, Zio's still into the game, Harsetti's still in the game, and it almost look as if these guys just removed two of each other's best openers. And just like that, Harsetti gets picked up. And I wonder if a Red Flame is going to quickly follow after, because that's one of the strongest combo we've seen, not only in RTA, but also on the Arena defense team, and also in the Guild War defense team. You almost never want to let your units have those two units together.
Well, 100%. I mean, Harrison opts to ban the Conquer Lilius and the Helion Lua. And Mossman looking to ban out, obviously, the Bracier, like you said, right? One of the units that actually made Harrison as popular as he is now. And actually taking Veronica with the Harsetti is a little bit weird, since the speed RNG is going to be what is going on in this match. Okay, so Harrison takes Zio to get the first turn and takes the Firefly since it is available. But remember, there is no third pick ban protection, so that Zio can go out the window, and Lunar's Harsetti is going to be able to go through. But this is going to be really close, because Harrison is going to be able to ban that last pick. So Lunar actually flexes away, decides to go for the Bellion to deny the souls and pick up a BBK himself. Now, with Harsetti on field, those BBKs with the Harsettis have crazy damage. Like, that's where you can run like 0 speed BBK with just giga damage, right? So
I do like that Bellion pivot right there. Not only does it hold back all the souls, you can't soul burn your Zio's book, not for Peyra, not for Knock Wall, but also there's a lot of evasion units. If you look at the Red Flan, the ML Peyra, Bellion is just so proficient at dealing with them. Not only does she hit all 4 units, but the 3F proc is going to just be putting down a lot of hurt. And wow, are we really going to be seeing a last big P-Flan? Yeah, see, Death Dealer Ray is more up to my speed. That's what I expect, but a P-Flan would be crazy.
But here's the thing about picking this Harsetti on left side for Lunar, right? So the way that Harrison has drafted right now, it almost looks like he's positioning to just guarantee ban the Harsetti, right? Because if Lunar doesn't ban that, if that Zio goes through, then Harrison's entire comp gets to play. So we're for sure most likely going to see a Zio pre-ban come out. But if Lunar does ban Zio, Harrison still has Lone Wolf Peyra, which is going to be able to like tempo his team. And remember, Swift Boots is going to let that Pirate Captain Flan take 2 turns immediately, right? So this is actually a really well-rounded comp by Harrison, and I love it from him, because Lunar has no cleansers, and it almost looks like Harrison is committing to banning that Harsetti. So we'll see what the postman comes through here.
Oh, yes, of course, and we do see the Amiki. Amiki comes out whenever you're desperate, you need an out, you just need to get out of the bind. The other guys outsped you completely. That is the second pick player's finest weapon.
Fuck it. I mean, there's been a lot of that. We even felt a little bit of that energy, I believe, with the Mean Bean Machine Green Celine coming out a bunch of times. But rather, she will be banned, and no Pirate Captain Flan as well. So we get into a pretty standard match, both players respecting each other, saying, I'll fight your top 4. So we get into the start of the finals here, ladies and gentlemen. Over $1,000 on the line, and once again, as always, there's something you can count on. It's Zio taking the first turn.
Ooh, Zio takes the first turn, and oh, that's so much damage. Letting the Red Flan tunnel in, dual attack, and S3 with the attack buff surely just removes the Harsetti out of here, and it looks like Harrison takes a commanding lead in this game 1 of the Grand Finals.
Wait, you never know, because that Bellion is still around, and you never know. You never know, right? You just never know. This S1 does it tag? Like I said, right? If you're picking BBK with Harsetti, it could be on a Giga ER build on really high damage, and that might be the case. Will this knockout land onto Lunar? And it doesn't strip out the immortality off that BBK, but it does get the bind and the reset. But look at the Bellion. That Bellion still has S3. It can get that defense buff up, and if it gets enough counters and Payward doesn't get a defense break on that Bellion down the road, I mean, 3F is still going to be able to do enough damage to swing the tides here in favor of Lunar.
And more than anything, Bellion still has immunity to her, which means she has options to S3 to S1. She just has all of her autonomy still left in the game. You could put up the defense buff, or if you're really desperate, I mean, just S1, right? You always have a chance to proc the extra attack. 2 shakes of 3F is going to be a lot of damage. S3 does come through, though. Look at that damage coming in. I mean, if you're going to launch a comeback, this is probably the way to go about it. Nockwell is already 70% HP, eats the S1 from BBK, gets the reset, and
stun the
provoke.
Bellion.
It's a counterattack.
No stun.
Oh, the tick goes through, but Red Flag hangs on. Hold on a second.
Their counterattack here could be deadly.
Cursed sword.
With the cursed sword.
Does it stun?
Open
It
for the
doesn't
stun. No stun. No
stun.
stun. And she's gonna speed ahead. She's gonna clear easily. Yes, my confidence comes through. I put it in Lunar, and he delivers a full moon blast coming down as he clearly takes the advantage. Game 1 goes up, and as we've talked about before, the advantage is already sweeping in. Tempo, a little bit of confidence, swagger, and most important of all, first pick going over to Fleet. We'll see how he deals with that.
Now, if you haven't seen the account review I did with Lunar, you would have never known this. Lunar loves his Bloodblade Corinne, and I am now more convinced than ever he is just a BBK maestro. Everybody plays Bloodblade Corinne, sure, but nobody can make her look good the same way Lunar Chewy does. And this man is a goddamn wizard when it comes to enabling her and making her look like a superstar in any draft. Oh my god. I can't believe we just saw that. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, man.
RNG loss. GG. I want my $30 back. GG. We still got a big series. We still got a long series to go. 1-0. It's a BO5. You know, anybody can still win it. Anyone can still go. You know, first pick goes to Harrison right now. Yeah, hey, as we've seen throughout this tournament, first pick is more advantageous. So let's see what Harrison's able to pull out here against Lunar Chewy.
Oh man, that Bellion just put in so much work. And I mean, you know, if you felt like you set up the draft correctly, that was an RNG loss. You just ban the Bellion for game 2, right? You remove her, you get to play Soul, you get to very comfortably draft your mages, draft book characters, and on top of that, you also feel really good with his evasion character, right? Like, now that you don't have to worry about 3F eating your entire team's HP bar in 2 hits.
So we might see some very pointed pre-bans added to the stack here in a couple seconds.
So we do see the Harsetti pre-ban coming out from Lunar and the Lone Wolf Payra pre-ban coming out from Harrison's side. Now, we have seen, I was about to say, the Zeo come out from Harrison and immediately, without skipping a beat, does go for the Harrison on first pick. Now, Lunar has, time and time again, he has flexed and stayed very flexible throughout this entire tournament. We've seen the Senyas, the variations of BBK, the Blood Moon Haze come out from him. What is he going to pick out here? Will we see a bystander Hawaiian early on to counter the ZOS 3? What might Lunar do?
Clock is ticking down as we get into this. Now we've all highlighted it here before, but being down 1 match in the set, not the biggest deal in the world, right? Being down 2, that's the kind of deadly position you don't want to be in, especially if you've got the massive advantage that is first pick. Speaking on which, massive is the win rate of this afternoon Soak Clan we've seen throughout the whole tournament. Took a loss just there, but might not be the same resources that can be put forward to putting her down, as she is joined by the Blood Moon Haste.
Now, Harrison is known to have the best Elagos in the world. So we've seen him pick that Elagos
buns
throughout
are
this
worth
tournament,
my
which is
time.
very strong into Firefly, and without missing a beat, immediately picks it up, and also picks up the bystander Hwayoung to anchor his team down. Now Lunar is going to be on the back foot here. He has to be concerned about that Elagos. That S3 is going to be able to land on Firefly, and it's going to have gap. It's going to drag a unit that can potentially follow up and kill that Blood Moon Haze. So we don't know, but Lunar's Blood Moon Haze, as we saw in previous matches against Carnik, it is very tanky on Proof of Valor. And so, you know, you never know. That anchor can always mess you up.
And I just want to point out the fact that you see Harrison almost just clap these picks out as if he's just ready. He's practiced this. And Lunar, you know, we praise him for being the more flexible player. You could tell he's taking his time. He's trying to construct a team. And not only that, he's also evaluating, okay, Harrison has these options. And if he goes this, how do I counter? He's playing a deeper game in his head. And we're really going to see here whether the player who's more sharpened, you know, you got the sharpened spear versus a buffed up shield, and which one comes out on top. I'm really excited to see how this goes. Janua comes out here too. Not a whole lot of buff strips, so when you defend against a cleave like this, Janua's an excellent pick, but Harrison, we've seen him go time and time again with this cleave comp anchor Solitaria. Not only is she stunning all the annoying defensive units, but also you hold back the flan, you can stun the Genua. Certainly a good unit to be picking here.
Well, I love the blue Crow pick that actually came out from Lunar's side, right? Because the blue Crow is very strong into Elagos, and not only that, it can S3 completely wipe off that Hwayoung. And matter of fact, if it gets deep enough into the game, you can also rip that Soulburn S3 if he's able to get some souls on the 5 pick there. But one very crucial thing is that defense buff allows Lunar to live. Remember, he has a Proof of Valor Blood Moon Haze. If he gets defense buff up on that thing is not going to die. So I really love that crowd pick up there. And another control 4-5 coming out from Harrison, picking the Knockwall on 4, picking the DDR on 5, recognizing that Lunar has 0 cleanse, right? He's going to overwhelm him with debuffs, apply the seal, apply the bind, apply the sleep, apply the venom, apply the poison, and just everything, just overload him, right? And that is a perfect 4-5 that Harrison could have went for, and we're most likely going to see an Amiki post-ban coming out from the right side.
Oh man, and would you say the number one thing about not having third pick ban protection is nobody's really just sticking to their guns anymore. Nobody's sticking to their composition, right? You see Harrison open up with the cleave. Bro, anchor 3, 4, 5. Like, it's just 3 anchors to the draft, and it's just, you're just looking to disarm your opponent. And wow, bans out the blue Crow. He's still looking to play very aggressively, and instead use the debuffs to try to overtake this Amiki.
Mm-hmm. Zio fall by the Doctor could be a dangerous duo. Sigurd Scythe and a lot of other. I mean, I'm looking at a team of assassins on right side. Like, you've got, obviously you've got the Elagos, but that's not a normal Doctor. That's definitely the guy who prescribes you some bastardized shit. It's like a Hitman level where he just comes out of nowhere. The Zio, small child, unassuming, could easily stab you in the back, and he will be here in a second. But he gets the miss still. Damage is clear.
That S3 damage into the Firefly. And the reason why is because this Elagos is a full damage Elagos, and it completely procs the Janu on turn 1. Like I said, he has the best in the world Elagos with insane damage. So he pushed back the Janu, not caring about the cut, and now DR can play the game and just go for. He can actually S1, he can S2, he can S3. He has all of his options open, because guess what? If he S1s and kills that Janua, that Elagos is going to get Gab and potentially kill off that clan. But he does go for the S2 on the DDR to put up the Pestilence, enable his team to start stacking some Venom here. Now, Blood Moon Haze does still have immunity, so he is not going to be weak to that Venom poison damage, but will he go for an S1 to finish off that Janua here?
Oh, wow.
Hey, get a load of these guys.
That additional damage really coming in, the additional hit chance, letting him crit the flan. Janua here, though, opts for the S1. Goodbye. Gets himself removed. Does the bomb hit? And it does! Oh! That is a huge hit. Oh, you hate to see that. Wow.
That counter from Hwayoung completely swung the game. That Hwayoung was going to die to that Janua S1 with the attack buff and the rage. But what a turnaround. Now DDR is closely following behind on this Blood Moon Haze.
Another dual attack too.
More dual attacks.
Will this DDR catch up to him? He does not. The 29k HP Blood Moon Haze is going to be able to bring back a Flan or a Janua, and it can for sure kill that Hwayoung. But will he want to commit it to Hwayoung, or will he commit it to the DDR?
Yeah, I think that's a huge decision to be making. It almost looked like he threw it into
it's
the
the
DDR.
DDR.
It does
Yeah, it's the
dispel. And it is enough damage. That is crazy. Divine Vessel is going to come through. Extra attack will be hitting into the Blood Moon Haze. Doesn't matter. You just care about getting this turn right here. This gives you at least a fighting chance back into the match. Now, Red Flan will be shooting out the fish. Takes out the Elegos. I'm surely this kills.
Does indeed. Amiki following in. Her team has done a great job setting up the stage for her, and in fact, the show's over already. It goes up 2 to Lunar, and I am saying this match could end a lot sooner than any of us thought. You know what? I gotta tell you, there's one reason I had utter confidence, and it's right behind Vic. Why don't you go take a look behind you?
Rack.
Rack.
I was about to say, the sun is coming down, my guy.
Alpha Omega
bro-
Giga Turbo fucking rack. Anyways, it is a BO5, so you never know. Harrison can always bring it and turn it back around. I believe in my brother. I believe.
No, that's true. I mean, look, guys. Last game we saw Jello, or last set, right? We saw Jello win from that what he was second pick, won the first game. We thought he was in such a comfortable scenario, and Harrison still managed to come back. He just has to do it again, but from a tougher position this time. Surely, right, guys? Fellas, like, what are we talking about? I'm sure he could do it, right? He just has to win. Like, if Harrison wants to win, he just has to play against first pick 3 times, right? He just has to beat first pick, or actually 2 times, right? He gets first pick this time. Dear Lord, that is a tough spot to be in. But I think he's proven himself time and time again today. So, honestly, let's see what he does in Game 3 of the Grand Finals of
The final
archaeology.
game of the Grand Finals, you mean? Hopefully the final game. The final game of the match, we're hoping. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If this is the final game, I'm going to go stream Monster Hunter after this. I'll be honest. Oh, man.
So, Vic, on a more serious note, what do you think is going wrong here? Exactly.
So Harrison's drafts have been quite good, but like that last game, for example, right? I mean, the DDR not catching up to the Blood Moon Haze, that could have been speed RNG, right? Like if DDR had rolled a little bit higher in the opening and had better tuning, he could have been able to catch up to that Blood Moon Haze in S3, remove that first turn, and L just take over and just kill him, right? So that second game was extremely close, and I mean, I think Harrison is not fumbling the draft at all. He's making some really sound picks, really good picks in the first and second game, but he just needs a little bit of better luck on his side, I will say. But everything is tuned very well. He hasn't made that many mistakes. In terms of every single turn, he hasn't really made any crucial errors on his turns either. So it can go either way. Like I said, these are both really, really good players, and this is a clash of the Titans. And Lunar does go for the Fire Flan Illinab in response to the Zeo first pick from Harrison. Harrison, that we know and love, wants to pick that Elegos, wants to just raw dog, kill that Fire Flan off if possible, and get that Alexis or Gab buff, and pick the DDR on 3 this time here, not leaving it on the 4-5, forcing Lunar to make a decision. Do you pick cleansers or do you not? And Harrison's going to try to choke him out in the 4 or 5 here, depending what Mossman picks.
Yeah, and I see something really going on there for a second. I don't know if anyone else knows it, but Harrison's so quick, as we've seen throughout this entire gosh darn tournament, so quick on the 2-3, especially when pulling for that favorite unit of him, as you've pointed out, in the Elegos, but actually hesitating, I think, for the first time this tourney a little bit on it. I think I like it, honestly. Some people might say that hesitation is bad, but putting that extra step of thought into to really cook up something special might be the turning point he needs here to really get things into gear as we get the 3-4 picks out of Lunar here. Valk?
Oh, you know, I was just thinking about the old days when we had the Shanghai tournament from China server, or rather from the Asia server, as well as all the other community tournaments we used to have. And wow, that is, you know, I was just going to say Lunar was hailed as the rising star of Fleet back when Magic Chi was the big daddy of Tank Down, and now Lunar's really showing his stuff. Pulls out the Tori, the Ocean Breeze Luluka, he's ready to throw hands, and the Tori, I don't think is like the strongest when your opponent is going super high tempo, high damage, but if anybody's going to be able to enable her in a spot like this, it's probably Lunar. I wouldn't doubt him like that.
I mean, that Tori pick is quite good because like it's immune to the entire team, right? Like if he has that barrier, he has basically like 3 lives to live, and he's going to be completely immune to the DDR as well. Can one shot basically any unit on his first 3 picks here, and Harrison locks in that BBK to get a guaranteed damage source here to try to wipe Lunar's board. But the main issue here is, are you going to be able to kill through the evasion, the defense buff from the Ocean Breeze Luluka, the potential Guardian Ice Crystals? I mean, this is going to be a hard fight for Harrison to win here. And Lunar locks in that Amiki, and hey, we know Harrison loves the TML cleave, and we're finally getting to see TML. I mean, can we just get a gooning in the chat? Because we see Tori on the left, we see Top Model on the right. I mean, this is every man's dream come true.
And one thing I like to point out is the fact that even though Harrison's team composition only has 1 payload in the Blood Moon Corinne, and now with the Eligos ban out, Eligos, Top Model Luca, these are not openers that, you know, like blue pay rate. They take a turn and then they're just like, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna peter around, right? They hit hard, especially Eligos with the defense break, the briefcase, and the dual attacks. Those things are here to pack a punch, and perfectly understandable why Lunar banned that. And, you know, honestly questionable if that's something he's going to be keeping around for the rest of the series. I think both of these guys established themselves. Harrison, you're a little bit faster. I'm going to give you the respect. And then I'm going to play all of these other units here. And I think Harrison here does find himself in a slightly better position. Goes up against Tori. Without a tank, Tori will die in 2 hits. So this is probably a match that's just completely hinged once again on the Amiki.
This is big because Harrison is basically going to commit the top model damage into the Amiki, proccing the Amiki, pushing his team up, and then let the DDR try to win the game for him and try to strip and land onto that top, onto the. Oh, he actually goes for the Tori instead to get that first life out of the way for the 50% HP. Counter actually comes up from the Amiki with the Uberi suit proccing, almost bringing the top model Luluka down to 1 HP. And this DDR has a really big job to do. He can hold here because that Tori is set up for the BBK S3 S1. So we might see Lunar's board evaporate very soon. But Amiki is still there. Wow. Harrison does go for the S3, saying, you know what, Lunar, you do not have enough to... Oh, he resisted.
Soul Constellation, that Lulucar might cut. Doesn't cut, though.
BBK still gets the turn.
Does it?
Red Flance asleep. This is going to hurt.
It's going to go down to a 1v4 for the Amiki. Does not counter on the BBK. Still has the second immortality protected. S1 lands. The Venom lands. Oh my gosh. S1 goes. Counter finally comes through from the Amiki side. Now this top model Gluluka does still have the S2.
Ooh, I think you're going to want to get the Ray the turn ASAP. Ray versus Amiki is honestly name of the game here. You need to make sure you kill the Ray as the Amiki. And, oh, that counterattack.
More counterattack.
Huge. Blows up the Guardian Ice Crystal as well.
Oh, no.
No soul burn over for Lunar. That might be huge.
Now, BBK does still have that second immortality, so this is really going to come down to the wire on whether this Amiki will counter or not. S3 is going to come through. It doesn't quite kill DDR, but this initial S1 hit might not kill.
So I want to say the Uberius finishes it off, and it's just a 1v1. It's a good old RNG 1v1. Leave it up to God. Oh, man.
I don't even have words.
Whoa!
BBK.
He just says, I'm him!
BBK. No counter comes up from Amiki. Now this S1, will it sleep to deny the counter onto the DDR here? Lands the sleep!
Wait. The BBK catches up. Hang on a second.
BBK S1. No counter!
No counter. DDR has another chance. This is why he saved them souls.
He sleeps it! Harrison is going to steal the game away, pushing this to a game number 4. Let's see a reverse sweep, my brother.
Oh, man. I mean, that's how they start, right? You're up 2-0. Suddenly, you're only up 2-1. Suddenly, game's even. That is exactly what Harrison was looking for. Get some tempo back under his wings. Get the feel of the game. And when you can get a draft like this going, I mean, better hope he doesn't catch more momentum.
I did make two predictions there. Obviously, one that Lunar would walk away with the victory, but also two that this would go all the way. However, there's something he's got to worry about, which we've talked about throughout the tournament. First pick now definitely in his hands. Let's see how he deals with the reverse that assault he just put on.
I mean, this might be a tilter because if you think about it, I mean, Valky, I know you had that same reaction as I did. We both thought Lunar was going to go for the kill on DDR and then 1v1 that BBK, because that BBK, if it does get proc down to 1 HP, she'll take like 2-3 turns before the Amiki does, right? And so if that is something where Lunar is now reflecting, oh man, I made the wrong decision. I mean, and if it's something that's weighing in the back of his mind, that might influence him to kind of maybe lose one more game, and then that'll really put him on his back against the wall. And I don't want to be in that position if you drop 2 games in a row.
Now correct me if I'm wrong, but he already blew up the Ray's Guardian Ice Crystal, right? He didn't have to worry about missing lethal on the Ray, right? He didn't
but that initial hit might not have been enough to kill. That's the problem.
I mean,
right?
he had attack up, so it was 2 hits, right?
It was 2 hits, 100%, but he was thinking maybe that first initial hit wouldn't have killed the DDR and then go into BBK after. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna just gamble.
Oh, because he really wants to just proc the immortality and be on that level. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That was definitely a gamble. That you have to admit. You see the Ray, you see the effectiveness buff. He has 4 souls.
Stand down.
Yep.
I don't like those odds, no matter what.
100%. And into the match we go here, obviously. Lunar does take that Zio on first pick. Harrison does take out that Hua-Young and that Veronica. Bystander Hua-Young is going to be a great anchor for Harrison's draft, because if that Zio S3 goes into a squishy target, it will proc Divine Vessel right away. And Lunar recognizes this, goes ahead and takes the Afternoon Soak plan, not caring about the Divine Vessel, giving himself a win condition for the evasion or the S1 dual attacks, and he can S3 to set up a DPS as well later in the draft.
Oh man, I do really like what Harrison's doing here. As you said it earlier, once we get to the top 4, the top 8, these guys are making heads-up play against each other. They're trying to predict each other's moves. And as we discussed, Lunar is a Bloodblade Corinne Maestro. He's just so good on this character. So having taken away the Veronica just puts Harrison in a position where he doesn't have to worry about the BBK. And if the BBK ever does come out while you're ahead in the draft, he has to ban the Veronica, right? It's a very telegraphed move. And as long as you can take advantage of the defense break, like in this case versus the Blood Moon Haste, I think that's a good pick.
100%. And Harrison recognizes that he's kind of tanking down, right? Like, Lunar is definitely being a little bit flexible, taking that Blood Moon Haste anchor. He did not picking any light units for that Bystander Hawaiian to get maximum value. And Harrison recognizes, you know, maybe I can't just fully commit. I'm going to take the Solitaria to try to deny the dual attack win condition versus that Solitaria. And he goes for Sea Phantom Politis, which is going to be stealth, so can't be pushed back by the Zio. And it's going to have that 50% damage reduction for Veronica and the Sea Phantom Politis versus Flan S1s. But as first pick on Lunar's side, he is going to be able to ban the last pick on Harrison's side. Now, if you do ban last pick and you get this draft through, I mean, Politis is going to be dragging Hua-Young over and over and over. And that's also going to be a lot of damage too. So this is still anybody's game.
Oh man,
No,
I think Harrison might have done something sneaky here, because we saw a lot earlier in the tournament that a lot of people were trading these openers back and forth, and so many openers have been banned. But Sea Phantom Politis making it on a 4th pick for Harrison, I think, is a huge boon for him. Lunar must be sitting there like, okay, wow, I was trying to build my team and have this tank down core, but suddenly versus Sea Phantom Politis, I might be stuck in a weird spot. Designer Lilibet, okay pick here versus the sheer amount of debuffs, but half fighting spirit versus
has a resource reduction here, right? So is Lunar giving a tell that he's gonna ban the Sea Phantom Politis?
Yeah, that's the thing I'm wondering about. Lunar either feels extremely confident about his posturing with the Designer Lilibet, or it might just be a forced ban on the Sea Phantom.
I like where his mind is at, picking up the Midnight Gala Lilius, something to chew through how tanky the team has become over here towards the end.
I don't really understand what Harrison's posturing here, because you have the Zio on the other side, and then the Gala either can get pushed back by Zio, it has no hit chance versus the Flan, Your S3 can't go on to Haste or Senya because you'll proc either of them. So this is going to be really interesting because Zio can just completely S3 and push back that Gala and deny the turn, right?
Isn't this perfect for Lunar? He gets out the Solitaria, re-enabling his Flan, and also the Dilibet gets banned out, which was his primary concern, running it into the Sea Phantom anyway.
Yep. I mean, this is a... I don't know if Harrison's going to be able to pull this out. This looks really bad. I think Harrison got a little bit too dizzy in the draft here because this is not really going to work out.
I still think, in all honesty, he has a chance here. We've seen so many of these matches swing both ways, but just in case, I am going to post my PayPal in the chat real quick, as a precaution for the end of the...
While Zio's going to take the first turn here, S3 does come through, and, I mean, that is pretty big. Silencing the Gala Lilius, and most importantly of all, the damage limit was still there to hold back the damage such that Divine Vessel wasn't going to proc. Oh, that misses the defense break. That's kind of big.
Here, take my hand.
Okay, so Sea Phantom Politics is going to be able to get that S3, providing rage buff to the entire team, and potentially pushing back all of Lunar's team and applying speed down. And now the speed down doesn't really land onto the Zio, and Gala is silenced here, but she will be able to heal up here and get back her damage limiter. And now we're going to have to see, will this drag Gala? Most likely it will, since she does have that rage buff, and the Bystander Hawaiian does not get buffs. And she does have a turn to get an S3 out. She does commit the S3. Who is she going to dump the S3 onto here?
Might just be the kid, I'm assuming.
Gotta be the Senya. I mean, you have to take out the Senyas. The Senya is, I mean, no matter who you take out, it's hard, right? If you hit the kid, the Senya's gonna go crazy. If you hit the Senya, the kid will go crazy. And from this spot, especially now that you've already committed, you just gotta go.
It feels amazing.
Oh man, this is tough.
Gala Lily is here. I mean, surely you rip the S3 into the Blood Moon Haze. You got the attack up, you got the enrage, but through the barrier, through the Proof of Valor, I just don't think this kills. It's gonna do a lot of damage. Blood Moon Haze not left in a good spot. Lunar's actually in a bit of trouble here. That is a lot of
damage, though.
Yeah, he is.
Against all odds, I mean, this was looking very one-sided for Lunar, but all of a sudden, with just some good decision-making in the match here, Harrison is slowly turning it around. This S3 from Flan is going to go forward. She does still have 1.5 focus, so she can get a maximum of 1 dual attack out. Will this Zio S1 onto the Hawaiian kill her, though?
Well, I mean, you're going to have to. There's not too many choices you can do. If you pick a different unit, the Divine Vessel might just take over the game. And now, I mean, that's 1 hit from the Veronica, 2 from the Gala, and you should just be able to knock out the Haze, yeah? No, he's going
you
for
gotta
the
go
Zio.
for the Zio. You strip the barrier and he gets another Wind Rider proc, and this S1 will for sure kill the Blood Moon Haze. Now it's a 3v1 with Flan versus the World. Now, this is a pretty tanky Flan at 14k, but versus Politis and also Gala, I don't know if Lunar's gonna have enough damage and tempo versus Harrison's draft. And he goes
gives
to
it
the
up.
FF. This is a potential reverse sweep 2-2, bringing it to a game 5.
What did I say? I told you it was going all the way.
Wow.
Told you it was going all the way.
And we're swinging this fully into the position of a reverse sweep. That's a series if I've ever seen it, guys. Oh, no.
I made 2 predictions. One just came true. Now we're waiting for this game through.
Well, I mean, this is a pretty tough match. Lunar is going to be able to pick up first pick here. And, I mean, what do you guys think he'll do here? He has 2 options, right? He could go for the first pick Red Flan, or he could go for the first pick Sea Phantom Politis with all of these cleave characters pre-ban out. You think he just go for Sea Phantom Poly first pick? Like, she's still perfectly viable. She'll still get it done. But, you know, like, what do you guys think the correct move here is?
You go for second pick.
You go for second pick. Nah, he already opted for first pick. You can't do that.
I know.
What are we talking about?
I think this is where all the experience is going to come out, right? Like, we've seen Harrison, even without playing for that turn 1, he knows how to play aggressive. Even without playing aggro or cleave, he knows how to play a relatively standard setup that we saw in his previous matches today. So, you know, this is truly anybody's game. We haven't seen this before, right? I mean, I don't recall ever seeing a reverse sweep before like this, so this is very exciting.
Well, reverse sweep or not, both players are ready. Let's send it into the final match of the final set of the Archaeology RTA tournament. I'm so thankful I was here. This has been a amazing journey. We witnessed so many good matches. Let's see what their pre-bans are, how they set up the draft, and who finally ends up taking the prize money home. This is the biggest prize pool we've done. I mean, just the first place money is bigger than most prize pool we did before.
So both players are definitely taking their time, using up all the time on the clock. This is the final game for all the marbles. And so what will we see pre-ban here? Lunar decides to go for a pre-ban onto the C Phantom Politics from both sides, actually.
Yeah.
Both players recognizing that, hey, so many openers are already banned. Let's just take out one of the strongest openers in the game in C Phantom Politics and play a different setup.
I mean, at this point, Lunar's first pick, Afternoon Soak Flan strat, is very secure, right? You don't have to play through a Sea Phantom. You know you don't have to play through no Elagos, which means the only thing that really stops her is, wow, okay, he goes for a Zeo. That's definitely not what I was expecting.
How should we do this?
Wow, so Lunar locks in Zeo, but without even missing a beat. Harrison says, you know what? I'm going to pick Ran and Fire Flan. Because like you said, the Elagos is pre-banned. The Sea Phantom Politics is pre-banned. He's taking that opener, his fastest unit. And as we said, guys, he has a 327 speed Ran. A speed that we will all only dream of. And so Lunar is probably surprised by this as we are. And let's see how he responds on the 2-3 pick here.
I mean, that's what makes this draft so scary, right? Especially when Ram makes it to the last round. Because you know for a fact, if you try to race him, he will just ban your Zeo and then still be faster. Like, that's... How do you play against that? But, hey, look, if anybody's going to find an answer to that, I believe in Lunar. Veronica locked in. It does look like he's opting in for a race. We are coming in quick, and we are coming in hot.
No one can escape.
Lunar locking in that Veronica to get that 10 speed lead here, setting up for a potential opener, a +1 on the 4-5 with the BBK on 3 here. Now, Harrison's got a tough decision to make. You know, you already have that Ran locked in on 1 there. If you try to pivot out of this and play some kind of anchors, I mean, is he really familiar with those matchups? We haven't seen him really tank it down and pivot away here. So I'm very curious to see how Harrison approaches this 3-4.
Wow, I mean, I would say this looks as standard as it possibly could for Lunar. He really wants to play BBK. I feel like he's been really put on the back foot the past 2 matches, defending versus all of these weird cleave and aggro pivots. And, hey, no better way to close out a series than to play something you're super comfortable with. And he looks hella comfortable on the BBK. Eyeballing another Dark Thief, Joe Biden coming out. Is he going to be Sleepy Joe this match? Is he actually going to pop off? I mean, if anybody's going to do it, I think Harrison's really
Joe
cooking.
Biden 3!
I'll prove
It's Joe Biden with Red on 4. Harrison says, you know what? I don't care. I'm going faster. I'm picking more damage, and I'm picking my man's Joe Biden.
Oh, man. Not only does he go for Joe Biden, but also Requiem Roana. So this is a 2-opener, 2-follow-up structure that I think is really hard to break, especially with a, 320 plus Ran. I'm sure Lunar here wants to jam in some speed imprints, but if you jam in the speed imprints, do you still have enough combat power left to punch through 2 evasion units? That's such a tough question, right? So, is there even like a unit you can pick to anchor down here? I'm not sure there is.
You know
You
what
go
I think?
first with the Celeste.
I think you need to just go faster. I think this is a moment where you got to say FTB, and for the record, that means fuck.
I was about to say Arbiter. I was about to say Vildred. I was thinking it. I'm like, what if you just accept death and play for the comeback? And the Inheritor Amiki, you love to see it. Full RNG mode enabled.
Fuck the bullshit. The bullshit is being fucked. And does the bullshit fuck back? That is always the question when these RTA players are slamming it. Oh man, Blood Moon Haze pick 5. He still has the anchors available. What are we talking about? What is going on, man? Oh my god.
now that you found
Wow.
Wow.
prepared.
Oh my! So with the P flam pick, Harrison is basically saying, I'm not banning a Miki. I have Requiem Roana, and I also have I have a Ran Soulburn that can potentially strip you from turn 1, and I have Pyro Captain Flan that can for sure land on you with that 50% effectiveness on her S2. And now this means that Harrison is most likely posturing towards a Zeo ban, or maybe even.
I mean, if you ban the
RB?
Zeo, what if you just ban the Ran? Can you race a Charles for Veronica? No!
Oh!
He bans the Veronica!
He bans Veronica and he bans the Rowana. I also thought that might be the play there. Just accept the rest of the bullshit and let play the natural. This is going to be interesting.
It is. Wow.
This is going to be
Where are
interesting.
they going with this?
Harrison's Ran gonna do enough damage? Is he fast enough to be in speed RNG of the Zeo? Will we see a Ran outspeed Zeo?
No. You might be fast, but look, Zeo is still Zeo. He's outspeeding the Ran by 5%.
Oh my god, look at the combat readiness bar. Lunar's entire team is base speed RB. We don't know if it's full damage or counter MLDB. It's an ER BBK. That Amiki is in the back. I mean, this is going to be really dicey for Harrison to break through.
I mean, props to Harrison for finding this Pirate Captain Flan pick. I think if anybody could break through these high resistance, sticky base speed units, it's Pirate Captain Flan, but she just got silenced, pushed all the way back. No stun. Hang on, provoke on the Ran, so no immunity coming out. Ran is in a pretty weird spot. Charles does get the turn here, so you can try to tempo up, push the rest of your team, get Pirate Captain Flan the turn, but oh man. I'll be honest, I can't tell who the match is supposed to be favoring here. Another attack! Another provoke! That's insane!
I love it here.
Oh my god!
We love video games, ladies and gentlemen. They're the
We love
best.
video game. I mean, afternoon soak Flan goes. Pirate Captain Flan. You're gonna
Lands
stun
on
the BBK.
Still on vacation.
Oh god. RB is still there.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
It's a degen RB. It's a degen RB. It did it. Okay. Any counter from Amiki?
Okay, one more.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, and the Charles gets sent out. No more Biden. It's a Trump administration now. I mean, Amiki even gets to go one more time. You got the soul burn this time. You got the attack buff. I mean, do you just provoke the Pirate Captain Flan? Fuck the bullshit. You said it. We're going right into it. Damage is gonna come through. It does hit. Takes out the Ran, and surely the extra splash is gonna remove the afternoon soak. Solo, and it's a provoke.
Let me talk about this real quick. What did I say at the beginning? It goes all the way. We're in match 5. What did I say after that? What happens? We get a Lunar coming out with the victory, and when does that victory come? Look right behind my man Vic. As the sun is setting, the moon is coming into full view. That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
So I'll become ash.
Oh my god, I can't believe what we're witnessing here. Pirate Captain Flan, one life on the line, staring down a BBK and an Arbiter Voltron. I mean, you could take out the BBK, sure, but I mean, she's blind now. You got one chance to do this, and I see a miss. You hate to see it. Counterattack.
Counterattack.
Offer me treasure,
She still goes.
and I'll grant your wish.
Oh, if he had enough
what are we
souls,
doing
there was
here?
a chance he could have actually played this match,
Just
but
save
no.
some respect. Save some respect.
Waiting. Oh no, it's another counterattack!
Some respect for yourself, my guy. Save some respect. Just GG. Acknowledge it's okay to lose. It's okay to lose. It's okay to admit that Lunar, with 1,000 plus bucks on the line, has taken it in our tournament. Vic's Archaeology Tour. We have dug deep and found our winner today, ladies and gentlemen. All hail the king.
Lunar Chewy! 2 years ago, he was the rising star of Fleet, and today he really cemented himself into that spot, taking down his guildmate Harrison, and really taking himself home. The biggest prize pool we've ever had in the history of us doing tournaments. Alright, didn't we, fellas? Oh my god, what a series. What a whole run we got to see today. Holy shit. That was crazy. That was actually crazy.
I'm speechless. I'm speechless. But I mean, that just shows like the versatility of a player like Lunar, right? You can see that the way that he drafted, it almost looked like everything was full damage. And if it was, I mean, he was in a terrible spot against Harrison. But it turns out, boom, counter, DGen, MLDB, RB. Boom, Amiki going turbo. ERBBK, right? I mean, versus cleavers, I mean, that's just so much damage that you have to deal with. And it turns out it all worked out in his favor. So congratulations to Lunar Chewy.
That was a crazy series, boys.
So
who, finished second and third, by the way.
So okay, let's yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still recovering from this. You know, bouncing it back to our bracket, Lunar will be going into taking home the winner's prize pool of half of $1,100, meaning he'll be taking home a clean $550. Don't feel too bad for Harrison. Harrison's going home with $275, and I believe is Carnik and ExJello, who will be splitting $275 between themselves. You know, I was gonna go stream Monster Hunter, but maybe I just go do that. I do the administrative stuff. I make sure the guys get their payouts, and nobody's sitting here like, "Hey Valk, I need that money to buy Monster Hunter." Oh my god, well played, Lunar. Well played, man. That was crazy. That was a good-ass set of games. Thank you for that. That was a treat, I'll be honest. I mean, that's exactly why we play no third pick ban protect, right? Because these guys, not only are these matches going back and forth, they're only able to go back and forth because both players has to be able to pivot their strategies around each other. You got these cleave openers supporting tempo bruisers, and then they pivot back into anti-cleave. All of this is only possible when we don't have third pick ban protect. And this is, I'm sure everybody's with me when I say this. I can easily see why Legend players really want third pick ban protect gone, because this makes for such an entertaining format when good players are pivoting, when good players are out drafting, and when chefs are chefing, you know we're getting some hella good matches.
Oh, 100%. And that's exactly right. I mean, and all that expertise from all these previous seasons before ban protection came through, I mean, we saw it in full action. I mean, Lunar, 7-8 times seasons of finishing Legend, and all that pivoting experience, all the knowledge that he's gained over these years, I mean, it really paid off. So big congratulations to him. And wow, what a series.
Really a blast from the past in a lot of ways, but a good one. It's good to remember every now and again. And it was, I really got to thank everyone who helped sponsor the money into this tournament, especially our big donators, because you can see how much that went towards absolutely getting some ferocious competition all the way to the top rungs of the ladder.
Yeah, shout outs once again, Lord Cactus, Vic, Kamar, Mixzilla, of course, Robo Penguin, XDefy. You guys really brought out the dog in a lot of these Legend players. Without you, the show wouldn't have been possible. So here's one final 07 from me to you guys.
Don't forget to support Vic over there. More users on Opera GX as always. He needs whatever he can to financially recover from these past decisions, but also because he's a great guy. I gotta say, it's been a wonderful experience casting with one of the most handsome people in the E7 community, and I'm just glad you're able to find the time to spend with us. Thank you for being here, Vic.
Man, chill out, all right? I'll suck it, dude. It's all good. Fuck it.
Yo, come back. We gotta glaze you a bit harder.
Okay.
Bro was just glazing me up for later on, man. Like,
unbeatable 4-5s, man. Unbeatable 4-5s. All right. Anything you want to announce coming up for you next this month? Anything like that?
So first of all, thank you to Valky and Divine for organizing the tournament, having me included, and kind of just making this a really fun experience. And this is long overdue. We did plan this for I think a year ago.
In May. It was May 31st when we were supposed to have it, and then shit kept not lining up for the rest of the year.
Yeah. It was everything didn't really work out, but I'm really glad that we were finally able to get this tournament going. And first of any, for sure. And for everyone that's watching, I'm really thank you for everyone who was trying to support the stream, whether you are just watching or dono or just chatting or anything. Thank you so much, and make sure to give your flowers to Valky, obviously, and yeah, look forward to more. For myself, obviously, I'll be moving into Asia in April, so
Ooh.
that Opera GX sponsor really does help a lot. So all you really got to do is just download it. You don't got to do anything else, and that'll really support me and go a long way. So I really appreciate if anybody can do that. But as always, you guys know where to find me: YouTube, Twitch, Discord. I will also be dropping a Guild War tool to kind of replace the Guild War tracker that
okay.
Fribbles has kind of now discontinued. So I'm currently working on that. So when that becomes available to public, I will let you
Hell yeah, bro. Oh no.
Yep.
guys know. And yeah, that's about it for me. Thank you, Antoine.
Hey,
Yeah,
perfect,
absolutely.
perfect. Yeah, if you want to drop, link anything, my chat is open to you, my brother. On my end, I will be for my birthday on March 17th this year on a Monday. Usually I do a birthday party stream, and usually we have a lot of sub goals. It's almost like a mini subathon, but this year, what we're doing instead is I'm gonna give back a little bit. I've gotten permission from Smilegate. I got Skystone rewards. In fact, we're gonna be on the front page of Twitch. So we're going to be on the front page of Twitch for this. Rug Dealers got a whole folder of memes for me to review. And on top of that, make sure you're followed to my channel, because when I announce a sign up for this event, you won't want to miss it. You'll be put through a boss gauntlet, and you'll be winning Skystones through the entire thing. As you beat these guys, you'll collect power-ups, which will let you hopefully go further, win more Skystones. So that's going to be a good time. Follow up with the page, get in the Discord. I'll be announcing when the sign-up is available in both places. It's going to be a good time. March is going to be a fun month for us. So hope to see you guys there.
It's going to be a great time, ladies and gentlemen. I have to get back to slowly dying, making multiple video games, as I have multiple. Really, I had a big talk with my team. We were like, "Can we release in the first half of this month, this year?" They were like, "No," and I'm like, "Well, we can't release in the later half of this year because that is the mystery date of GTA 6. So we're all rushing to get something out in the summer here. But once again, happy to always be with you, Val. Whatever opportunity I can to do this, I'll take it. And Vic, you can send those $30 straight to any charity of your choice. It is technically Ramadan. I was not going to bet with the possibility of actually benefiting, but the benefit of charity organizations and people who need it is always my number one thing, as is most of the community, as we've received the awesome support for what we do here. That, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is the tournament in its entirety. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to see so many amazing, just ceremonial matches. I think we could call this one quest complete.
Oh, that's so satisfying. Thank you for that. That felt really good. I know usually when we do this, it's really tiring to organize people, get people ready, do all the behind the scenes bullshit, but I'm so glad we're here for this. This was a good time. I know I said I was going to play some Monster Hunter today. To not scam you guys, I'll send you guys over to Ace Trainer. I'm sure he's got some good ass Monster Hunter gameplay. Go backseat him, go show him some love. Yeah, I was going to play Monster Hunter, but I just realized, like, I got to finalize the tournament. I got to send people their payouts. I just want to make sure I get people their money ASAP, because at the end of the day, you know, these guys play for a reason, and I think they deserve it. I think they deserve it. So yeah, I'll be sending I'll send you guys over to Ace Trainer. If you're on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed up. Now that we got the tournament out the way, before we drop the Boss Gauntlet event, I'm probably still going to put out a few videos, especially if you guys think like, oh, hey, this tournament, this format was really fun. I want to play in the next one. Or if you're like, I really want to start grinding on the ladder. You know, follow mine and Vic's YouTube channels. Like, I mean, we put out videos there every day. So if you're looking to improve your game, that's always going to be an option for you.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. That's gonna be it from me for today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll probably take like tomorrow and the day, maybe the day after off. I'll definitely see you guys later this week. We'll be playing more Monster Hunter. Whenever, man, whenever. I feel like I could breathe. This has been crazy. What was the most memorable game and best content, most pivotal unit? How about this? I'll handle the game. Divine, what do you think is the best content? And then Vic, what do you think is the most pivotal unit of the tournament? I think the most memorable game for me personally, still AB versus Alifton. It was really sad to see one of them go out game 1. Divine, most what do you think was our best content moment for the show?
I think it's seeing Celeste for no reason. I think it's Jello.
Jello with the Celeste, that was based.
It's when we dug so deep. I'm like, bro, we are going with some 2020 tech right now.
Vic, what do you think was the most pivotal unit?
I mean, overall, I'd probably have to say ML Luna.
ML Luna.
I think ML Luna, you know, when you see ML Luna on first pick, I mean, you put it in the hands of a good player, like they won't really lose. And I think like our day 1 ML Luna first pick was like 6-0 or something like that, 7-0 or something, right? So it was, yeah.
All right, well, that's going to be it from us for today. I hope you guys have a great one. I already sent the raid over to Ace Trainer, so I will see you guys over there. Bye-bye!